Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you ever joined the show or the live stream, first of all, welcome. Happy to have you here. The way this works is super simple. You're going to see a chat box on your screen. Simply enter your question, comment, concern of the day in there, and I work through them in the order they come in. Sometimes I have the answers, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care. All right, guys, so here's the thing. Some of you guys are really excited. You get here like an hour before the show starts and start entering your questions. Unfortunately, the software that I use is not going to pick that up unless it's like within 5 to 10 minutes or so of the stream starting. Like Steve Jackson, if you're still around, you had some really good questions around renovation. If you don't mind, re-enter those and I will definitely get to it. But I'm not able to pull them in because you asked a question before the software is able to grab it. All right. So let's see who we have in the show tonight. We got Jackie Bear starting us off really nicely. Warm wishes saying, Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. I sure hope it's going to be. It should be a fun time. Last week was a lot of fun. The pre-test was a lot of fun. And this stream tonight, a lot less stressful, right? Because I don't have to worry about anything too hectic at my other job at work tomorrow, as far as like karate and making sure that everyone's looking good for their test in the fall, which that's all behind us, which is awesome. And guys, again, tomorrow, remember, if you are in the Northeast Georgia area or in Alabama or in Florida or South Carolina or North Carolina, and if you feel like making a road trip, tomorrow is the Real Rollers Turf Park. You guys know last week, due to Hurricane Ian, just out of an abundance of caution, the decision was made to suspend or to push it off 1 week. Well, we're here now. Tomorrow is when it's actually going to be going down. So again, it's tomorrow, October 8th at the Real Rollers Turf Park in Beaufort, Georgia. If you guys want the address, I'll be posting this a couple of times throughout the show tonight. But in case you guys are wondering where it's going to be, this is where it is. It's going to be a cornhole, football. I think they're going to have a keg, barbecue. Should be a great time. The Allet, the C27 will be there. My Greensmaster will also be there, and we may have another mower there. I haven't decided yet if it's going to get there or not, but we have another mower that you're only going to see in person if you're actually there tomorrow. So if you're in town and feel like making the trip, by all means get there. My plan is to be there around 1:30, right before 1:30 tomorrow, because I got karate in the morning, and then I'll be able to get home, showered, and get over there. But for by 1:30 until the end of the event, I will be there. I think Alex Lee next door is also going to make a trip too. So if you want to meet the guy behind the Fix My Ugly Lawn series, also come out. We'll be hanging out and just having a great time. And it'd be really cool to see a lot of you guys there if you're able to make it. It'd be really, really good. All right. Next up, we have VMH in the house saying, hey, Ron, happy Friday. What's going on, VMH? Hopefully all is well with you, sir. And then next we got Robert Majoros. See, Robert, I'm getting it better. I'm getting better at saying your name now. I actually practice it. He says, the green is gone. Not for me. I'm thinking about painting my lawn. Any thoughts? Enjoy. Yeah, so you're not the only one, Robert. The green is definitely going away on my lawn as well, too. We've had a combination of a lack of rain. We haven't had rain in a couple of weeks now. I mean, any measurable amount of rain in quite a while. And the temperatures have been pretty cool. I mean, you look at today, temps were in the low 53. It's 73 degrees now, but it's been really cool weather, which that combination of lack of water and cool weather, Bermuda doesn't like it. So like you, my lawn is all starting to check out, such is life. And you never know, we might get like a heat wave here in October, and it might warm up again. We'll see, right? We shall see. And now, as far as thoughts on painting the lawn, most of the time when I see that done, it does not go well. However, there's been a couple of submissions from viewers over the season, earlier this year, where they showed me cases of people that actually painted their lawn and it came out really good. So I've never done that, so I can't really give you any tips on how to get a good result. But I would imagine that the more even you can get the coverage, meaning if you are going to go for a darker green, make sure you're able to get it down applied as evenly as possible over the entire lawn. So that way you don't have lighter and darker areas, because that's the thing that I normally see when people try to go after that, right? When most people try and paint their lawns, they'll have some areas where it's really concentrated, looks really vibrant green, and other areas where either like the sprayer was getting low or they just didn't make a good pass and it looks lighter and it doesn't look that good. So it can work. It absolutely can work, because I've seen it done. But that would be my advice to you. I've never done it myself to be able to tell you, hey, here's some little gotchas. But like anything else, right? When you're painting, the more even the coverage, the better the result. If you decide to do it, take pictures and share it with us, because I definitely want to check it out. All right, next up, we have Mr. Neil Crossland in the house saying, good evening, Ron. Good evening, Neil. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. I appreciate you. And then again, Steve Jackson, if you are around, man, you had some really good questions around your renovation project. Definitely re-enter those so that I can bring those up. So I think a lot of people would like that. Steve was debating on if he's going to do a renovation of his Bermuda to put into Homa, should he do that now or in the spring? And he had a couple of really good questions. So hopefully he's still here and we can just copy and paste and drop those back in here again. All right, next up is Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips says, happy Friday, Ron. The lawn is still green, lucky you. Soil temps average 70 to 79 with temps in the mid 80s. Thinking one more light fert treatment of 700 and let the lawn go to sleep. Also, are you bagging clippings now? Thanks. Yeah, I'm still catching clippings. I'm not having to mow as much. Literally, guys, I'm down to mowing like twice a week now. If I mow at all, like literally, I mowed. I'll tell you, I mowed Monday. I mowed Monday because trash comes and picks up on Tuesday. So I mowed Monday, and then before that, I mowed the previous Wednesday. So I'm really down to 1 to 2 mows a week, because again, the grass just really isn't growing. It's like cold weather and then no rainfall, and Bermuda's like, whoop, I'm just gonna just chill out here and just relax. And as far as the back lawn, as far as the amount of clippings came off, the entire back lawn, I emptied the grass catcher 4 times for mowing the entire back lawn. So it lets you know it's pretty light as far as clippings that came off. Now your plan sounds like you still got plenty of heat where you are. And if you want to do another fertilizer app, that's good. 700, like a light nitrogen app, shouldn't be a problem at all. In addition, something I'd encourage you to do, Andrew, especially if you've had issues with lawn disease, is now is a good time to get down your preventative fungicide. I've already did my first Headway app. I'll be doing my next one at the end of this month, early November. So if you're looking for something else to do in addition to mowing and putting down a 7% nitrogen application, consider also getting your fungicide application out. we carry that at the golf course lawn store under the fungicide section. So in case you guys are interested, I can show you that really quick for anyone that's looking to do the same thing that I'm doing. So if we switch over and you go to golf course lawn store and then shop and then fungicide and insecticide, and you scroll down, there you will find Headway G. We have two fungicide options. So you got Headway G and also Caravan G. Caravan is an insecticide fungicide product. I mean, Caravan you can do that because the fungicide that's in Caravan is azoxystrobin, but really I would only go with this if you have some kind of insect problem in your lawn. Really, Headway's a better option this time of year. So really up to you. Either one of these will work. Headway's what I'm using, but if you have an insect issue, you can also do Caravan, and that will also work for the purposes of preventing spring dead spot. So good stuff. Definitely keep me posted on how it does, Andrew. You know, I would almost say that I'm jealous that you're still able to mow, but I gotta tell you, man, this season has been a lot. It's been a lot going on. A bunch of top dressing work and, you know, mowers. I'm having like new mowers and getting that stuff serviced. And you know, I'm actually ready for a little bit of break. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, just relaxing, meeting a lot of you guys, hanging out, and just, you know, slowing it down a little bit. Looking forward to that. All right, next up is Neil Crossland, where he says, "Hey Ron, have you heard? I've been hearing something about ammonium sulfate 2100. Have any thoughts?" Yeah, I think it's a good option if your pH is on the high side. Ammonium sulfate by composition is like a 21% nitrogen product. So if you have more alkaline soil and you're trying to lower your pH, then oftentimes your options are a sulfate of some type, like an ammonium sulfate or citric acid. You know, if your grass is still actively growing and you want to go with ammonium sulfate, that's fine. But if you're going into dormancy, I would lean more toward a citric acid so you're not throwing 21% nitrogen at the lawn this late in the season. Either one can work, but the only time I'd really recommend that as a product to apply on your lawn is if you're actively trying to lower your soil's pH. As a product for like regular fertilization, not really, because not for me anyway, because one, if you don't need to lower your pH, you don't need to add ammonium sulfate. And then second, most ammonium sulfate products strictly only contain nitrogen, right? And most of the fertilizers that, like, for example, what we carry in the golf course lawn store, and a lot of fertilizers that are designed for regular feeding will also have like a micronutrient package. They'll have other nutrients as well of just nitrogen. Like if ammonium sulfate were, if you could get it with like a potassium component, then I could see using it, you know, for more regular feeding if you also need to lower your pH at the same time. But unless you really need that, you know, I don't typically recommend that people go with it. So good question, Neil. Great stuff. And if you need anything else, definitely let me know. All right, next up is Ben Rainham. He says, "Happy Friday. Thanks for the live stream." You know, thank you for coming, Ben. You know, if you're not here, I'd be sitting here talking to myself, which again, not saying I don't ever do that, but it's a lot more fun to talk to you guys and have someone on the other end. I guess I'm technically talking to myself right now, right? But at least you guys are here to interact, so it's not me being a crazy person. All right, next up is Jonathan Daza. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Looking forward to the show tonight." Yeah, man, me too. It's a relaxing show. There weren't really any questions from last week that I had to cover. As far as news, really, it's going to be all about the turf park tomorrow. Again, the Allet C27 is going to be there. It's all charged up, looking all sweet and pretty. I cleaned it up. You guys would be happy for those of you who are going to be there. The Greensmaster, I did my best. I also cleaned it up as well too. And then, you know, Lee and Andrew and Eric, they're really going all out. They, you know, they're out there grilling today, getting the place all prepared, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are going to have a great time. TV set up. I mean, they really want to make it a great experience. So come on out. I mean, free food, free beer, lots of. I mean, they're going to be, in addition to the mowers that I have there, they're going to have, you know, True Cuts, California Trimmers, McLean's. So if you're looking for any of that kind of stuff, if you ever want to try it out and try it on Bermuda, try it on two types of zoysia, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow is the day to do that, right? So this should be a great time. All right, next up is Jonathan Daza says, "Can I start off the live stream with the first question?" Technically not, because I only saw this now. Sorry. He says, "I have a Scott's Classic Drop Spreader. What should I use for Essential G for 1,000 square feet? What setting for seeds? Thank you." Now, that's a good question. You may have to check the site. I'm not sure if I have a setting on there. We can look at it together. We can do it together. All right, if we go to the Miramichi Green section, on the topic of Miramichi Green, I need to tell you guys a little something about that. Owe you guys a little bit of an apology. But under here, I have spreader settings, and I don't think I have the drop spreader. So the thing is, Jonathan, what I would say is, again, I've never used a Scott's drop spreader, so I can't really give you a recommended setting. But there's no chance, or there's no likelihood of you damaging or injuring the lawn. The only thing that could really happen if you go with a setting that is too generous is that it won't cover as much as you may want. So what I would say is this: start light, like start, look at the prill sizes where it's a fairly generous prill size for the Essential G, and open up to where it just starts barely coming out. And then maybe make, a pass over like half of the area that you'd expect it to cover. And if you still got a lot of material left there, then you can increase it a bit more. Again, there's no chance of you burning the lawn. The only thing I wouldn't want you to do is open it up too heavy, too wide, to where you apply all of it in a very small area and you don't have enough to do with your entire lawn. You know what I mean? If you're top dressing, it doesn't really matter, because I apply it like really heavy, like as much as a bag per 1,000 square feet. So like I put it down, I'd lay it down, I cake it on. So again, there's no chance of you burning it, but I don't have a calibration for Essential G for Scott's classic drop spreader, because I don't have one of those, unfortunately. And at Home Depot, I don't believe they carry them either. Not at my local one. I have not seen one. So if you guys happen to have one, if anyone in the area has one, and you maybe you can bring it, if you have one, you can bring it to the turf park tomorrow. I'll bring a bag of Essential G and we can figure it out. And I'll put it on the website, but I don't have that off the top of my head. As far as the setting for seeds, again, I don't have one of those spreaders, so I don't know, but seeds are very, very fine. So with this one, I'm going to say just where you see daylight. When you see a little bit of daylight going through there, that's about where you'd want to start. If you're doing it where you're mixing sand along with the seeds, again, just go for a very small opening. Like Bermuda grass seed, it's very fine. I don't know what kind of seed you're using. You're probably using some kind of a cool season grass seed. But at any rate, seed is small. So again, start light, start with a small opening, and then increase it if need be. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you on this one, but I've never actually used a drop spreader like ever in my entire life. So I'm not going to be a ton of help for you on this one, unfortunately. All right, next up is Devin. Devin is in the house. Demir's in the house. He says, "What's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. New countdown video is sweet. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time working on it. More than the video, I spent a lot of time trying to find the right music, and then I created the video around the music. So yeah, I like the song a lot, and I like the intro. So we'll keep it for at least a year, right? We'll see if I decide to mix it up or not. But it's a cool video. So we'll keep that going. Hopefully you guys are getting close to moving in. I know you guys were planning, or we're doing a house construction, so I'm not sure where you are on that. But best wishes. Hopefully it all goes well for you and you guys are in there soon. Appreciate you coming out, man. And now that things are slowing down, Devin, we got to get you back on here. We got a couple of lingering questions, like one, tips on doing a golf green at home and just hearing what's going on in your world. So at some point, you got to hit me up on the gram and let me know when you got time to get on the show. Would love to have you on again. All right, next up is Jonathan. He's leading the charge. He says, "I hit the like button. Let's get the likes up." I appreciate it, guys. So we got 78 people in here right now and only 40 likes. This makes Ron a sad lawn panda. Come on, guys. We can do better than that. For the 80 of you now that are in here, hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's a free way to support the channel. Let's get that going. Next up is No Name. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. What a difference from last year. My yard is only 40% green and it keeps getting into the low 40s each night." Yeah, dude, you're not lying, No Name. Like this time last year, there was really no change between like September, August till now. Like the grass was still looking great. I was still pretty much on the same mowing schedule. It wasn't until I want to say late November, early December, when we got that first cold snap, that the lawn really began to check out. But this year, man, it just started. I mean, as soon as October hit, it got cool and it's been staying cool. And then no rainfall. That combination is really putting the lawn to sleep here. Pretty quickly, which is not the greatest. But again, I'm not feeling too hurt about it because I'm a bit ready for a break. I'm ready for a break, man. Just take time off, watch some Formula One. Watch some football. So I'm getting more into fantasy now. Not that I know what I'm doing, but I'm still having fun with it. And that means tomorrow I get to hang out at the turf park. Don't have to worry about mowing, any of that stuff. Good times, right? Good times. Next up is Trav Smitty. He says, "Loving my new Alex Sterling. Any tips if you're a little late on putting down prodiamine? Got mine down today. Temps are still in the high 50s to mid 60s for lows and high 80s for highs. Yeah, so if you look at that, I mean, if you don't have one of these guys, like a soil thermometer, to be able to check, or just, look or Google in your area what the average soil temps are, you probably are a little bit later than you should have been, Trav Smitty, for my taste, but still get it down. Like I was talking to one of my buddies, one of my karate buddies today was saying, like he called me, he says, hey man, I haven't put my prodiamine down yet because there's no rain in the forecast. I'm like, dude, for the love of everything green, please put the prodiamine down. Like get out there with a hose and water it in. Like, it's you got to get it down. Like, I mean, we're in October, almost mid-October now. Well, first week of October anyway. And the temps are now are definitely in the Goldilocks zone for Poanua and other stuff that will begin ruining your lawn over the winter and early spring to begin germinating. So get your pre-emergent down. I would say go ahead and apply it. Trav Smitty, I don't know what kind you're using, whether it's a granular or liquid, but get it down. Hopefully you'll get some rainfall. Worst case, if you drag a hose around and water it in, you definitely absolutely want to get it down. Put it this way, even a pre-emergent application without a lot of rainfall, or one where you're just watering it in yourself, is better than waiting till like the end of October to put pre-emergent down because there's going to be rain. You know what I mean? You want to get it down in your in the soil. So yeah, and I'm sure I'm happy to hear you're enjoying the Sterling. It's a pretty awesome mower. They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful machines. I mean, I love mine, although I've never really mowed with it. But yeah, they're really cool. And the nice thing about the Sterling, in my opinion, is that it's the build quality is really good, and then it has all of the cultivation cartridges that you really need. You can get a verticutter for it, a turf rake for it, which is really nice. They don't make a sorrel roller for the Sterling. I've never asked them, but I want to think the reason why is because of weight. So the sorrel roller is like, you can think of it as almost like a spike aerator of sorts. And you really need some weight on the machine, or weight on that roller, for it to really work. And given that the Sterling is around 120 pounds thereabout, that might not be enough to really make that cartridge work well. So I think if I had to guess, that's probably why Owlet hasn't done it, or they might be just waiting to do it. But I think that's why that one was not one of the first ones they went out with. But yeah, awesome mower, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Take care of it. Take care of your batteries. Make sure you run them, you maintain them properly, and it should serve you a really, really long time. All right, next up is McNasty Motorsports. He says, howdy, everyone. What's going on, McNasty? Thanks for coming to hang out. And next up is Colin Potter asking the question, how many square feet is your lawn? It's around 11,000 square feet now, Colin. It used to be 12, but part of it got fenced off. So I say around 11,000, 11,500 thereabouts. A little over 11,000 square feet is what I'm at now. The back lawn is like 9-ish, and then between the side, the swale area, and the front lawn, that's about another 2,000 square feet. So 11,000 square feet thereabouts. That's what I'm working with. And again, it doesn't take very much time. It doesn't take very much time to get that to mow that for me, because again, it's wide open. I don't have trees or anything like that, so it makes it pretty early, or makes it pretty easy to get that done. All right, next up is Cobra Venom. He says, is it too early to let your lawn go dormant? No, not really. You don't really have a say in the matter. As far as like letting it go dormant, anything you do, anything you do to try and prolong it or push a bunch of extra growth is just going to create problems. So, as far as letting it grow dormant, that's really a factor of Mother Nature. You know what I mean? If the conditions are right such that it's cool enough and you're not getting a lot of rainfall, really it's cool temperatures, it's just the lawn's going to go to sleep. So there's not a whole lot you can do about that. You said it's been a month of no rain in Georgia, and I can't see myself to keep throwing water at the lawn to keep it alive. Thank you, and happy Friday, everyone. Yeah, so you're not going to hurt it. It's not going to die if you let it go dormant. If you keep your watering schedule, it'll stay green a bit longer, but it's still going to go to sleep, man. With the temps, being in the, at least around here, I've had some days now woken up in the high 40s, but normally 50s and then 60s throughout the day, and then today again a high of 72. It's just like Bermuda is not going to stay vibrant summer green with those types of conditions. Again, watering it will help some, but it's going to go to sleep. Really, unless you can change the weather, it's gonna happen. So if I were me, I wouldn't throw a lot of water at it. I have not been watering my lawn. I haven't been, running irrigation normally, like running a normal cycle or anything like that. It wants to go to sleep, let it go to sleep. I'm not gonna really push it, I mean, here's the thing, Cobra Venom. Consider this a gift, because last year, this time, we were mowing hardcore. We were still out there the entire time mowing like we were in, August, September. And so consider this a gift that we don't have to be out, out there this time of year, still mowing the lawn quite so heavily. All right, next up is Higgy Pop. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Looking forward to tomorrow's event. Yeah, man. Hopefully you can get out there and come hang out. So tomorrow, if you guys are interested and you don't want to have to deal with shipping, if you're coming, we will have Caravan, Headway, and a Celiprin available there for sale. I was thinking about bringing out some Primo and a Celiprin, but I mean, really, most of you guys aren't really using Primo Max right now, this time of year. And I guess I could bring some liquid Celiprin if you guys wanted, but really, we've got the granulars there. The granular Celiprin, Caravan G, and Headway G will be available. So if you buy it tomorrow right there, you can actually pick it up, take it home with you, right? You don't have to worry about shipping or any of that fun stuff. So that's going to be an option. I think it should be a great time, and I'm looking forward to just relaxing and just, having a bunch of people yell my name and being able to walk up to you and be like, hey, and not having any clue who you are. You're going to be like, hey, I'm Higgy Pop. I'm like, oh, now I know who you are. You know what I mean? So a couple of you, I know what you look like. I know what Papa Mo's Low, I'm pretty sure I know what Papa Mo's Low looks like, and a few of you others, like Heartfelt Fashion, but most of you guys, I've never actually seen you in person. So should be a fun time. Should be a great time tomorrow. Really looking forward to it, and hope to see a lot of you guys there. All right, next up is McNasty Motorsports. He says, Texas OU weekend, hook 'em. I guess it's a football rivalry between OU and Texas. Okay, I got you. I hear you. I appreciate that, Cobra Venom, about hitting the thumbs up and likes out. I really do appreciate you. And then next up, we have Real Rollers in the house saying, happy Friday, everyone. Looking forward to watching football, talking grass, and hanging out tomorrow. Weather looks great. It does. There should be no rain. It's going to be a mild day. It's going to be a great time. Hopefully you guys can make it out to the live stream. To the event, the turf park party. Should be a great time. Should be really good. I was kind of worried because after the event was postponed last week and the weather was a little bit windy but not terrible. I was saying, watch. Of course it's going to happen to where next week we're going to get a bunch of rain over the weekend and it's going to ruin it. And that didn't happen. It just like we have had no rain for the last week or just like several weeks. Tomorrow's gonna be another day with no rain, which is good, right? Great day for cornhole and football and just hanging out and having a good time. Playing with mowers, there's that. Can't forget that. And the guys and gals at Real Rollers have put together, put a lot of work into putting the event together. So definitely come out and show your support. It's not very often you get to drink free beer and eat really tasty barbecue and play with like a ton of. Literally, I'm trying to think of what real mower will not be there. There's probably not going to be a Jacobson there, and I don't know if there'll be a John Deere. But as far as like the most common real mowers, again, True Cuts, McLean, California Trimmer, the Greensmaster, and the Allet C27 will all be there. So you guys will, should be a good time. If you like real mowers, tomorrow's for that reason alone, it's a good reason to go. And I think Real Rollers is also going to have some rollers out there and stuff to, talk a little show and tell about that. So all depends. It should be a great time if you like grass. If you like grass, it's the place to be in the Southeast U.S. All right, next up is Moro, Xavier19. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Have you heard of the Gopher Hawk? I've not heard of the Gopher Hawk. It sounds pretty intense, though. But no, I've never heard of the Gopher Hawk. What, pray tell? Are you trolling me, man? Am I going to Google this and it's going to, my search history is going to be forever polluted? Let's see, the Gopher Hawk. Oh, mole trap. Okay, so Gopher Hawk is the name of a mole trap. No, I've not seen that. I mean, this looks pretty cool. You guys want to see what the Gopher Hawk is? Gopher Hawk getting free advertising. You guys want to check it out and see? The Gopher Hawk is, I don't know, it looks like some kind of a spike thing that you stick in the ground. It kills moles and gophers humanely without digging or disrupting the garden. Easy and highly effective. They show how it works. Interesting. Here's the thing, Xavi. I really hope that I don't have to get one of those. I mean, if I have that kind of a mole problem, life is really not good. So I've not heard of it, and hopefully I will never have to own one. How about that? That's what I'm hoping for. All right, next up is Mary J. She says, hey, Ron, looking forward to tonight's live stream. Thumbs up. I appreciate that, Mary. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're keeping up with your exercises. I know it's probably been a couple of months now. Gave you a little routine, and hopefully that's still working for you to produce the results that you are after. Hopefully that's going well. And then next up is Mr. Robert Rainey. Robert Rainey. He says, hey everyone, what's going on, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. And then next up is Fairway Bermuda Lawn. Daryl, he says, happy Friday, Ron, and everyone. Looking forward to the live stream. Real Rollers, I'll be there. Yeah, awesome, Daryl. Looking forward to meeting you. Saw your video on Headway. Great stuff, man. Keep it going. I like it. Yeah, it should be a good time. Should be a really good time tomorrow. You know, again, you're going to be able to see the home of Real Rollers, see all the rollers. I'm not sure if they're going to show, if they're going to have them all out where you guys can see. I know they'll have some sample units, but yeah, it's gonna be a great time to see a lot of really cool equipment. If you're looking for fungicide, insecticide, and you just want to be able to take it home with you, you'll be able to do that tomorrow too if you want. And in general, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a really, really fun time. Cornhole games, right? I'm really bad at it, so you guys can make fun of me. All right, next up is No Name. He says, I see Ron got that fresh haircut. You notice, man, I got to be fresh and clean for tomorrow. I can't come out there looking anyhow, you see? I mean, I don't think I miss any spots. I cut my hair myself, so I think it's all even overall. And I'm sure if I miss something, you guys will tell me. You'll be like, man, look, it's all kind of jacked up. See, this way you go pay a barber. You know, the thing is, a fun fact, No Name, is that I don't really have a problem with going to a barbershop. I mean, at least the cost of getting a haircut, but it's the time. Like if you ever go to a barbershop, it's not a fast experience. I mean, unless you have an appointment and you get there like right when your appointment is, it's gonna, you could kill an afternoon, several hours in there, and it's just I don't have the time for it. So that's why I stopped doing it and just started cutting it myself. And because I don't really do it, I don't line up, I don't get an edge up or anything like that. A good trimmer, I can just do it myself. So yeah, man, I got it all clean. Trying to look fresh for tomorrow. Trying to look my best. Come on, got to do it right. All right, next up is Shantae Jones saying, hey Ron, newbie here. I've enjoyed watching your videos, and as a first-time yard chick, I've learned a lot from you and others. Awesome, Shantae. That's what we're after. I'm glad that you found the content useful. Definitely also check out the store, the Golf Course Lawn Store. Not only the shop, but also there's the blog there. There's lots of really good lawn tips and articles around fertilization, fungicide, just keeping your lawn looking great. So in addition to the YouTube content, if you're a person that likes to read and doesn't like videos as much, you can check out the blog. The articles are relatively short and they're concise and just gives you everything you need to know, nothing you don't. They're along the lines of how I like to make my videos, not too fluffy, just get to it and get it done. And I appreciate having you. So I'm glad that you're finding it useful, and hopefully a lot of the tips that you're learning are helping you to improve your lawn, get better, because that's the whole goal, right? So hopefully that is the case. Appreciate having you here as a viewer. Next up is Tony Israel, where he says, hey Ron, good to be in the number this evening. My question, is it too late in the season to scarify or aerate? If you have cool season grass, no. If you have Bermuda, I wouldn't, because in other words, if you were my next door neighbor, I'll answer the question if you're my next door neighbor. If you were my next door neighbor and you said, hey Ron, I'm looking to scarify and aerate my lawn right now, is it a good idea? And I'd say, probably not, because the grass really isn't actively growing. Or it's not growing very quickly anyway. So the ability of it to recover from that injury is not going to be very good. So I would not, if it were me, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't aerate. I wouldn't scarify. I wouldn't do anything other than just mow it this time of year if it were me. I really wouldn't do any of that. I just say that for next season. That's my thoughts on the matter. I really wouldn't do it now. I mean, anything like that, top dressing, like people have asked me before, can I top dress now? I mean, I guess technically you could, but it's not a good time to do it. If you want to do those type of cultural practices, anything that is going to introduce stress to the lawn, whenever the grass is actively growing, so it's gonna recover faster from it. You get out there with a aerator, a piece of heavy equipment, you knock a bunch of holes in the lawn, it does introduce a bit of stress. And if you do that in May or June, there's plenty of heat, plenty of rainfall. The grass is going to go right through it really quickly. It's going to be recovered in a week or two. It's going to look great, and you're never going to know anything happened. You do that now, literally, it could be months and months before all the holes close up. So it's just not worth. There's literally no benefit to doing it now, is what I'm saying. So I would wait till next spring. That would be my advice to you, sir. All right, next up we have Cedric G. He's got a super chat, our first super chat of the evening. I appreciate that, Cedric.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, super chat received. That's right, it is. He says, hey, I'll start the live stream with a dub, and LG will then put up 40, and I'll put up 60, and he will put up 100, and then LG will win. Turfs up, hurt down, Shipe action forever. So here's the thing: you got to get LG's participation. He's got. I mean, is LG co-signing this this program, this back and forth? You know, we'll see. I mean, but at any rate, sir, because you are the first super chat of the evening, and because I've been messing that up here lately, I'm going to make sure I get it done properly tonight. You are the show sponsor for the evening for now, unless LG takes you up on it and decides to do some back and forth. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that is worth to you. Really appreciate the support, sir. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate it. We got, as I'm going back up to find the next comment, we've got Alex Alexander Lee says, hey, happy Friday, RH community. Looking forward to the Real Rollers event. I think Alex is going to be there, guys. I was talking to him today. And here's the thing. You gotta, like, Alex is a busy guy. You gotta make sure, like, over the weekends, he's got volleyball, he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got, he's a pretty tough guy to nail down. So I think, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get him out at the turf park for a while tomorrow to come hang out. So again, if you want to meet me, I can promise you I'm way more exciting in videos and probably on the live stream than I am in person. And if you want to meet Alex, who's way more fun, then make a trip out to Beaufort, Georgia, and come hang out with us. Should be a fun time. All right, next up is G Free 301. He says, hey, Ron, Shipe Action Gang, good evening. Good evening, sir. Appreciate you coming to hang out. And then next is Robert Majoros saying, perfect, Ron. No need to practice anymore. Cool. Yeah. So you're good to, so when you say no need to practice anymore, so you're saying you've already got the how to spray it. Are you going to spray your lawn? Is that what I'm hearing? Or am I missing the context of your comment, Robert? Let me know. I mean, again, if you do, definitely do a before and after video, because done well, it looks okay. It looks pretty good. Done poorly, you know what I mean? And the thing is, you have to be careful, because the one that I saw, like a neighbor down at the corner did it probably 2-3 years ago, and they went super concentrated on the dye. So the green was like greener than it ever is, even whenever the lawn is just like in the middle, like take like June time frame when there's plenty of heat, plenty of water, like Bermuda is like loving life and looking awesome. It looked greener than that. So it just looked fake. It's almost like if you look at a video and like if I shoot like some of my older videos when I was even worse at cinematography than I am now, and my white balance was off and like the grass would look like lime green, like look like that. That's what can happen if you go a little too heavy handed. So I would say, just err on the side of, if you need to, multiple coats to get it to the color you want versus going out super heavy handed and getting a lawn that looks radioactive. All right, so, okay, well, LG has seen Cedric's comment, we'll see how this works out, and is raising him. So we have 20 from Cedric. LG is raising him 40. And we'll go back here. Super chat received. He says, only if Ron chugs a pitcher of lemonade during the 7 p.m. sip central, of course. Okay, so I don't have a pitcher of lemonade, dude. I've got like, I mean, the cup is like, okay, this is a pretty big cup. This is courtesy of Josh Abib. And there's that much in here. So you're saying that if I drink all this at the top of the hour, you guys will go all the way up to 100? I mean, I did have to spend a bunch of money getting my reel sharpened. I could use some coin right now. So I don't know. Can I take a sip now? I'm not cheating. Can I take a little sip? I'm not gonna drink too much. Just a little something. I will see, LG. I will do my best. I mean, that's a lot of lemonade to drink all at once. But I might be able to, as long as you guys hold up your end of the bargain. If I do this, you guys better hold up your end of the bargain. Don't stiff me now. All right, well, right now, you are now the show sponsor. Let me get up here, and we will take Cedric. We'll take Cedric off, and we'll replace you with LG, and in small print for now, and save that. So LG is currently the show sponsor. What you got, Cedric? All right, let's find the next comment we have here, the next comment in the live stream, which is Xavi19, where he says, Ron, are you going to have any stripe action stickers tomorrow at the event? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. You have to show up and see, and see if there's any stickers. I might have stripe action stickers. I might have other stickers. We'll have to see. Here's the thing. I will tell you that tomorrow I will be, I mean, you know, heaven forbid, unless assuming I'll wake up tomorrow, right? There's always that possibility, but assuming I'll wake up tomorrow, I will be there. The mowers will be there. And I mean, the Owl's going to be there, and the Greensmaster are definitely going to be there. Might have something else there that you're going to have to be there to see. And stickers, we'll see. You know, we'll see. I don't have that many extra stickers laying around, so if I do have any, they're going to be limited in supply. So, you know, definitely get there again. I'm going to be there around 1:30ish or so. So there we go. There we go. All right. So good question. All right. So Cedric. This is, you know, I almost wish you guys didn't go at this. All right, so Cedric is now up next. He's done another super chat, raising it. He says, LG, what about a video of Ron putting on the shades? I don't have that queued up, so I can't actually do that, even if I wanted to, Cedric. I don't have that here to be able to show you guys that. I can show you guys a video of the reel cutting paper after the fresh sharpen. I can show you that. So now with that, Cedric is now the show sponsor. Cedric G. All right, there we go. Cool, man. But again, guys, one thing I didn't show you guys, if you guys did not see my YouTube shorts on that I did of the awesome job that that Michael did sharpening the reel, I got to tell you get the name of his business. I got to give him some love. He did an awesome job. He's a pretty busy guy. But you talk about someone that put a lot of love, took his time, did a really good job. So his name of his business is Atlanta Reel Mower Sharpening and Repair. So I'll put his contact information here in the chat in case you guys are in the Atlanta area, look for someone that's really going to take their time and do a good job sharpening your equipment. And if you want to see what kind of job he did, you want to see the results. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any sound to this, but if you want to see it with sound and me talking about what he did, watch the YouTube short. But this is it. You can look at this. Look, little effort, not much effort. See how this is cutting paper? Look at that. I'm not having like to hit the reel hard. Just a nice light turn, and it's cutting like a hot knife through butter. You know, it's just it's a thing. A freshly sharpened reel is a thing of beauty, and he did an awesome job. So I'm looking forward to cutting with it. I haven't even mowed with it yet, guys. You know, I haven't even mowed with it yet. So, but if it works like that, it's gonna be awesome on the lawn. So at some point, probably next week, I'll be able to give it a test drive, and we shall see how it does. Thanks for the super chat, Cedric. I really do appreciate it. I want to definitely also acknowledge LG. He celebrates 10 months of membership. He says, now I'd rather see Ron dance around in the studio to Tango Belair for at least 30 seconds. Yeah, y'all got to come up more than that, man. I mean, come on. It's just like 100. I mean, plus, I don't want to run the viewers off. You guys, if I get up and I start dancing, it's just not going to be, it's not going to be good. I mean, I'll lose viewers forever. I mean, the subscriber count will plummet. You know, people probably file complaints to YouTube. I'll get my channel deleted. I mean, it's not, you guys don't want to see me dancing. That's not going to be a good look. I'm trying to help you. Like, help me help you. Let's not go there. All right. Next up is Teron Jones. He says, happy Friday. Thanks for the advice. Cutting the lawn fixes some of the issues with thin grass. I added some additional seed and it's looking great. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Teron. Glad to hear that mowing is helping to stimulate that extra growth and getting the lawn to fill in. Good stuff. And then a little bit of seed is also helping as well. Yeah, man. So, you know, the thing is, mowing covers a multitude of sins. You know, you get out there and you burn your lawn with fertilizer, or you know, you want a thin lawn to fill in, assuming that everything else is where it needs to be, right? Plenty of sunlight, good nutrient program, all this kind of stuff. Like, mowing is really the secret sauce. Like, if you look at really what separates a golf course from like the typical lawn, granted, the program that they use is obviously a lot more elaborate. But if you take it down to its core, like what really produces the appearance is the mowing. Like, they just mow way more than the average person. Like, most people, like, sometimes the neighbors will walk by. I don't get the question as much anymore, but when I was really getting into my lawn, I used to get it more often. People would say, how do I get my lawn look like yours? It's really awesome. I want a lawn just like that. And I kind of just smile and I say, be careful what you're wishing for, because really, you got to get out there and mow your lawn at least twice a week. And really, normally when I get to the twice a week mowing requirement as like the barrier for entry, that's when, you know, they kind of give me a look like, I mean, can I just cut it when it needs to be cut? I'm like, that's the thing. If it looks like it needs to be cut, you waited way too long, right? So, I'm glad that you've taken on the challenge, right, Tehran? You are, mowing your lawn more often, which is producing a lot of the results. I'm sure the seed doesn't hurt either, but really it's the mowing that's really getting your lawn to look a lot nicer. All right, next up, we got Andrew Phillips. He says, yes, I did have an issue with fungus after my soil leveling this summer. I applied Headway G a week ago and one more for the end of October. Great tips, Ron. Thanks for the info. You're very, very welcome, man. Yeah, Headway G is an awesome product. You get you get 2 different fungicides all in one, and it works very well. Like, I had an issue with some large patch of my lawn last April. You guys could look at my content from back then because I documented the entire thing. I showed the issue I was dealing with, the Headway application, and then the lawn a couple of weeks later, and it did a great job arresting the spread of the lawn disease, the lawn fungus, allowing the Bermuda to heal up and did really well. So Headway is a great product. I really, really, really wish I could get Syngenta to make it in this size. Like, you can get the Aceleprint in this size, you can get Primo in this size. I think they even make Heritage, which is just azoxystrobin, in this 4 ounce. If we could get Headway in this, whew, be incredible, man. Be super, super, super awesome. But I'll just keep working on it. I'll keep asking. Maybe one day they will do it, or they'll just tell me to pound sand. But either way, if they say no, I'm no worse off than I am right now, right? I think that would really be a game changer for us DIY lawn care guys and gals. Tommy Bennett is up next. He says, late to the party, but what's up, Ron? Not a whole lot, man. I'm kind of excited, relaxed, and just enjoying having a great time. We'll just hang out with you guys. Not a ton on the agenda tonight, other than talking about the Real Rollers Turf Park Party, which is tomorrow from noon to 5. I'm going to be there from 1:30 till 5. Free beer, free food, cornhole, football, lots of real mowers. If you want fungicide, insecticide, you're going to be able to get it and pick it up right there at the same time. We'll have it for sale there as well. You may get to see it's a cool meet and greet for whatever that's worth. So if you want to meet me, you want to meet Alex, that's something. And you may get to see some kind of cool stuff in person that you're not going to get to see, anywhere else. Like, I can almost guarantee you're not going to get to see it anywhere else. So for that reason alone, it's worth making the trip, But yeah, next up we got another super chat. One here from LG. It's getting serious now.
Super chat received.
Appreciate it, LG. Says above and beyond, and I think that deserves a glass of bourbon for that. Cue up that Tango Bolero. For that, you will definitely get the Tango Bolero, LG. I appreciate it. I don't have any bourbon nearby. I've got bourbon. Obviously I have bourbon in the South. I gotta have bourbon, but I don't have any bourbon on the desk or within arm's length, unfortunately. So I can't do bourbon on the live stream. But you know what? I might bring. Well, you're not gonna be there tomorrow, so I'd say we could have a bourbon tomorrow if you were at the event. But yeah, at least you get Tango Bolero. That's something, right? Appreciate the super chat, man. Let me find the next question. All right. Next up is Lowell Mangle. He says, evening, Ron. I'm still mowing in North Alabama, LOL. Man, look. You know, guys, here's the thing. And I hate to be this way, but I'm going to be this way. I hate to be this way. Do you guys notice, we get in the live stream starts, and I'm saying, hey, guys, it's too bad. Lawn's starting to go dormant. And it's slowing down, and Robert Maduro is saying, yeah, my lawn's starting to slow down too. No Name comes in, yeah, my lawn's slowing down. It's getting to be a little, about to start checking out. And that's like, the North Carolina, the Georgia crowd. What happens? The Alabama contingent has to come and be like, hey, I'm still mowing. This is how they are with football too. This is why, I really don't feel bad with Georgia winning last year. And I really hope that we meet up again in the finals and Georgia's able to do it again, because with folks in Alabama, it's like everything's a competition. Like, they can't be, it's always gonna be one-upmanship. That's the thing, and that's probably why they win at football more than we do. But it just seems like it's a bit unnecessary that everything has to be a competition. Lowell, I mean, can't we just appreciate that our lawn's going dormant and we can't mow as much as you right now and that? But I get it. I know how you Alabama folks are. I get it. I'm beginning to understand it more and more and more and more. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of grief for that little sidebar, but it's okay. Bring it on. All right, next up is Tommy Bennett. He says, I never got a better color response than AMS plus potassium plus PGR. Cool. Nice. It's good. I'm glad that that's working well for you, Tommy. And you said, I'm sorry, iron. So yes, I guess you added some iron too, which that makes sense. Adding some iron, growth regulator, potassium, and I guess it was the AMS, I guess ammonium sulfate. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. So did you actually test substituting like a I don't know, like a 1608 fertilizer, like a fertilizer with actually I got to change the show sponsor. I got to fix this for LG. Did you ever do the exact same combination, but with just a fertilizer that contains, you know, like flagship, like a 2406 fertilizer, like the same combination or the same makeup? So you know, a nitrogen and potassium with growth regulator that also contains iron. And I'd be interested in hearing if you notice a difference between that and I think you're talking about ammonium sulfate and this concoction you're using. So I imagine it's going to be pretty similar. I'd imagine the results would be similar, but maybe not. You know, maybe you found something that produces an even nicer green. But I think it's really more the nitrogen and the iron that you tacked on. That's probably what's producing the color response that you are getting. We got another super chat here tonight. Thank you guys so much. You guys are helping pay for my recent reel sharpening, which I really do appreciate. I really do appreciate it. One here from Ben Raham.
Super chat received.
He says, my lemonade tastes like bourbon. LG. Keep it like the lawn neat. Yeah. I am, when it does come to bourbon, I do prefer it neat. Bourbon, whiskey, if it's a good one, or rum, even like a good rum, I prefer it neat. If I mix it with Coke, then ice, but for the most part, as the distiller, as the creator intended. Yeah, so LG got, you know, you're gonna get show sponsorship back, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm also, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put a star around it too, because I messed up on that. So let's see what we're gonna do. We're gonna put like an asterisk around it, you know, fireworks and everything. So we got like asterisk LG with stars. Just for you, because I messed up and took too long to get you back. So I appreciate it. My one of my not Proctor, one of my moderators was saying, hey man, gotta fix this. They keep me on the ball too. So I appreciate that, LG. Thanks also to my moderator for reminding me about that. My apologies. It was not intentional. All right, next up we have Xavier19. He is back and he says, Ron, are you trying out any new products for 2023 season? Hopefully. Here's the thing. There are some new granular products I'd like to try in 2023, but every time I talk about it, it seems like I'm jinxing it and I'm pushing off when they're going to be able to be released. So I'm not going to talk about it. The answer is yes. Whenever I announce it on the live stream and you see them in the store, that's when you know I'm doing it. So hopefully between now and 2023, we're able to get it going. But like a lot of things in life, they takes twice as long, cost twice as much as you expect, right? But yeah, I'm planning. There's not going to be drastic changes really to the program, because to be completely honest, Moro, like what I'm doing now works. It produces a good result. The only thing that I'm toying around with, and I'm probably not going to do it, because one, the amount of headache involved, and both to do it, and then all the top dressing has to happen afterwards to get the lawn looking nice again, is maybe a renovation of some sort. I'm letting that swirl around a little bit, but the more I think about it, and the more I think about like how bad the lawn is going to look after a renovation, and that it's going to be a couple of rounds of top dressing again. Here's the thing. I might lose Alex as a friend if I do that. If I do a renovation and then the lawn's all bumpy and we decide to top dress it, he'll go on vacation, he'll go away from somewhere, and he just won't take my calls. And I don't want that. So I really got to think about not just the work and the cost involved, but also, future relationships and everything. A lot to consider just, for me to satisfy my quest of never being able to leave well enough alone. All right, next up is Junior Carrera. He's up next. He says, I purchased and sprayed Fusilade 2 to kill the Bermuda on my St. Augustine. I feel like my St. Augustine is dying as well. In addition, after 2 applications, the Bermuda is alive. Interesting. So it's the people that I've seen that have used Fusilade, and even when I've used it, again, I mixed it with glyphosate, so I had a little extra help. But it's been pretty effective, Junior, at eliminating Bermuda in zoysia and other cool season grasses. So I'm not sure what's going on is it even rated for St. Augustine? That's a good question. Let me look here really quick. I know it's good for, actually, I believe it is. The more I think about it, I think the very first question I got about Fusilier 2 was about applying it. It was a St. Augustine lawn with Bermuda, but let me check the label here really quick, just to be safe. Can't hurt, right? Let's see here. Yeah, see, I don't see St. Augustine in the label, Junior. Let's look at this. I'll show you guys here really. I'll show you what I'm looking at. There was a viewer last year that used it for getting rid of Bermuda in their zoysia, and it was really good for that. But St. Augustine, I don't see that listed here, man. I don't see that listed. Maybe if I can do a search here and see if I can see Augustine. Yeah, it talks about the month of August, but nothing about using it on St. Augustine. So yeah, let's I'll show you here really quick. We can go over to my screen sharing. So for spot spraying instructions, it talks about, for suppression and or control of common Bermuda grass and hybrid and other weeds in zoysia, fine fescue, and tall fescue. So for fescue and zoysia, primarily zoysia is where I see people using this selectively. It's good, but I don't see anything on the label. See, I've been doing a search for Augustine. I don't see anything in the label about St. Augustine grass. So that could be why you're getting the discoloration. Could be because it's I don't believe it's labeled for use on that. I'm looking here. Yeah, I don't see that on the label. Zoysia absolutely works well and it doesn't damage zoysia, but St. Augustine looks like is not liking it, and it does kill Bermuda's Junior. You may take more than one application, but if you mix it at the correct rates, I want to say it's half an ounce with a gallon of water with surfactant, and that covers 1,000 square feet. That rate should work well against Bermuda. But again, it's from what I'm seeing here, it's not labeled for use on St. Augustine. It's labeled for fescues and zoysia. So we probably don't want to continue doing that. You know what I mean? If your St. Augustine is going to bounce back, hopefully it does. But yeah, I would not do that again unless I'm looking at the label here and I don't see any mention of St. Augustine on it. Yeah, so it's kind of an ouchie. Hopefully the St. Augustine isn't too bad off, but let's not do that again. Let's not do that again. That explains part of the problem. And assuming you mix it properly and applied it with surfactant, it should start killing off the Bermuda. Here's the thing, it takes a while to begin working. So within the first 7 days, I wouldn't expect to see much. What you might see is the Bermuda will begin losing its color a little bit, but then kind of like the way how certainty works against sedges, it'll ramp up really quickly and the Bermuda will die off. Even when I mixed it with glyphosate, it was the same thing. You sprayed it within the first 3 to 4 days, the first week, it lost a little bit of its color, but then after that, it really ramped up and the Bermuda died off, and it's still dead. Like I did a YouTube story the other day showing the mulch, the Bermuda in the mulch beds. I purposely haven't pulled it out, and I show you guys, there was one from a couple days ago where I showed, hey, it's still dead. It's not growing back. It's not coming back in. Like that combination of Fusilade and glyphosate, it's a good one and done against Bermuda grass, which is pretty encouraging, right? Because glyphosate by itself typically doesn't work by that well just with a single application to get rid of Bermuda, but mix it with some Fusilade, and it's getting it done. So I'm sorry to hear that you sprayed Fusilade on St. Augustine, because it looks like it's probably that's what's causing your discoloration issue. All right, next up we have Jonathan Daza. He's back. He says, to follow up on the drop spreader, are there any benefits from a drop spreader compared to a rotary spreader? Thanks. The one benefit I could see is for if you're doing seed, like one of the things that I do with Bermuda grass seed is I mix it with sand to give it a little to thicken it up a little bit, give it a little bit more body. Because whenever you apply it using a broadcast spreader, like Bermuda seed is so fine and so light that literally it'll be going out and it just blows. It gets blown all over the place. So because the spreader or the I don't know what you call it, the dispenser, the thing that rotates and throws the seed, the dispenser is a good maybe a foot or so off the surface, maybe a little bit higher depending on the kind of spreader you have. That's quite a bit. That's enough to where it can materially affect how good of an application you get. With a drop spreader, literally it's a lot closer to the surface. Drop spreader is only a couple of inches away from the surface of the grass. So for the purpose of applying seed, I think that's one area where they are better. For doing fertilizer, they're okay. For doing products like Essential G, they're fine too. But really, for I think a broadcast spreader can work just as well in those cases. I think a drop spreader really only has an advantage over a broadcast spreader when it comes to seeding projects, because it's so low and it's a very small drop to get it into to get the seed into the soil. Another benefit is that as far as ensuring really good coverage, more even coverage, because of the drop spreader, you're literally making a straight pass and it drops whatever you're applying in a straight pass. If you get your overlaps right, you can be assured of really, really good coverage compared to a broadcast spreader where you have to lightly overlap the passes, not heavily, just lightly overlap them to get even coverage. So for purpose of seeding, a drop spreader is probably superior, but I've gotten good results using a broadcast spreader too. You just need to mix a little bit of sand with the seed, and it works just as well. In my opinion, Jonathan, unless you're really in love with it, getting yourself like an Earthway or a good rotary spreader has the advantage that you're going to find more calibrations available for it, right? Like you're not going to have to get out there and start consulting on conversion charts of like, a Scott's Elite to their broadcast spreader, or an Earthway to a drop spreader. You know what I mean? So just from a standpoint of reducing the amount of harassment you have to deal with, from a standpoint of just getting a product and there being a calibration on the bag for the spreader you're using, like for that reason, I would consider moving to something like an Earthway. So it's a great spreader. They're not terribly expensive, and it's a good balance in my mind between a prosumer type one. It's not quite as expensive as like the Lescos, not nicely as built as those, but it's small, it's light, easy to use. They hold together really well, and again, I love mine. I mean, I like it so much that last year I gave the one I've been using for a few years to Alex. And there was nothing wrong with it, and I just bought another one of the exact same model. You know what I mean? So they're really good, and if you want to check them out, I'll paste a link here in the chat to Amazon Land, and you can feel free to look there. But the one I'm using is an Earthway 2050P. I think it's the 80-pound hopper, and yeah, take a look there and see what you think. All right, next up is Xavi 19, which says, Ron, do you know if True Cuts can be outfitted with 10 blade reels? I think so. I think there are two versions. There's is it 8? I think it's 8 blade, 7 or 8 blade, and I think there is a 10 blade version. I've never seen one in person. I've never seen the higher blade count in person, but let's see here. I want to say when I was looking at True Cuts and their website is super slow, unfortunately. Let's see, front throw mowers, commercial mowers, and we'll shop C27. Why not? And I think there is a 10 blade option. I'm looking here. Yeah, there is. Yep, there is a 10 blade option. So check out the guys at Real Rollers. They might be able to get you one, but it does come in a 7 blade. You get it in a 7 blade, and you get it in a 10 blade. So, but there's that. But here's the thing. I've never seen a 10 blade myself personally. And if you go with a 10 blade, Xavi, one thing you got to keep in mind is you need to keep up with your mowing. If you're one of these guys that gets out there and mows, once a week, you don't want to go with a 10 blade. If you're someone that's mowing your grass really much taller than 3/4 of an inch, a 10 blade is not ideal. You know what I mean? An 8 to 7 is really the Goldilocks zone, where it's going to cover the broadest range of cutting heights that most homeowners are running their lawns at. Now, if you're someone that's super hardcore and you're cutting at like 1/2 inch, maybe 1/2 inch or even a little bit lower, that's where a 10 blade or even 11 blade really begins to shine, right? Because you're going to get that extra clip rate is going to produce just a cleaner cut, a nicer cut. But if you're mowing at 3/4 of an inch, which is really the height that I recommend most people maintain their lawns at, just from like maintaining your sanity and color and stripe action, 7 blade is going to be just fine. And it's still a bit cheaper. You'll save, a few $100s. I think the 10 blade's like $200 to $300 more, right? So there is that too. But 7 or 10 are your options for True Cuts. And of course, Real Rollers helped me out. They said, yes, TrueCut Cobra mowers come with a 5, 7, or 10 blades. So thanks for that, Lee. I appreciate you. So see he's in there with the assist. I should probably just scroll down when I see these kinds of questions, and someone will most likely have already chimed in on the answer. But yeah, there you go. Now, if you can get one after the fact, check with Real Rollers. They can probably get you one if you want to swap yours out. I don't know what's involved in doing that. I've never actually done it. But yeah, at least you know you got options, right? You got options. All right, next up is Colin Potter. He says, have a good weekend. 20K here. I don't know what that means. 20,000 here, 20K, I guess. But sure, I appreciate that, Colin. Next up is Patrick in Texas. He says, are you utilizing the groomer / rake on your outlet? I raised mine all the way up to the top when I scalped in the spring. I haven't been able to get it right since. Does it really make a difference? Okay, so, I know what you're talking about. So here's the thing. My mower, the C27, does not have the little, I don't believe it has a little comb thing you're talking about. If I think what you're talking about, it's like a little, it looks almost like, think of it almost like little fingers that are fixed that help to kind of comb the grass and present it better to the reel and bed knife for a better cut. I don't believe the C27 has that. I don't believe seeing that on there. I don't believe it has that. So I can't tell you about adjusting it. I do use the turf rake, which is kind of like a rotary version of that, Patrick, and that does help. And to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it does help stand the grass up, and it does help produce a better cut. So you're asking, do they work? Yes. And I want to say that Allet has a video on their YouTube. I've seen a video on YouTube specifically where they talk about setting that up, or about adjusting that. So check Allet's site. You know what? I'm going to screenshot this. I can see if I can find it, and I'll be able to tell you next week. But I'm pretty sure there is. I've watched a video where they talk about moving it out of the way when you don't need it, like when the grass is overgrown, and then resetting it. So I'm pretty sure I've seen that in one of their YouTube videos. So I'll ask the guys at Allet which one has it, and I'll get that for you. But yes, it's worth setting it back up and getting it adjusted and working properly. Think of it almost like a fixed groomer, like exactly what it is. It does help produce a better cut. It does help produce a better cut because it's helping stand the grass up better. All right, next up is Noix Oligarchy Gaming, where he says, don't forget to hit the to like the video. Good stuff. I appreciate that, Noix. I appreciate the support, sir. I do need it. So if you guys, the 100 or so of you guys that are in the live stream, we got 100 people in here and we got 77 likes. Surely we can do better. Surely we can do better. LG is here. Actually, you know what? We're at the top of the hour, and I think what was LG's thing is that at the top of the hour that I chug the rest of the lemonade. You know what? I'm a man of my word. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a good college try. We'll put on the intermission music while I try this. Probably not going to work, but we'll see. All right, here we go. Break. Pause. We got like a brain freeze. We got ice in here. Brain freeze number 3. Almost there. All done. All right, so I'll make a mess. Just ice comes out now, see? There you go. All done. That'll teach me to ask for super chats, right? So there you go, LG. Hope you appreciate that. Hopefully my throat doesn't get dry here because I have nothing now to drink. But I'm a man of my word. I tried it. There you go. All right, next up is six kid dad. He says, Ron, Love the show. I'm a newbie, so bear with me. Now, here's the thing. You're a newbie. We go hard on newbies. If this question is not good, ooh. I'm confused about prodiamine as a pre-emergent. You're in Georgia, but I'm in Mass with turf type or turf type tall fescue. Same schedule to fight against POA. Yeah, it's the same. Six kid dad. As temps are getting cooler, going towards like really when soil temps are getting towards 70 degrees, the average, you want to get your pre-emergent down. Again, I'm a big fan of getting it down a bit earlier than later. There's people that say no, wait for it to get to 70 degrees. In my opinion, that's too late. Like pre-emergent still works if you get it down a week or two early. It does not work as well if you get it down a week or two late. So yes, the same schedule applies. Now here's the thing. You may have watched some of my videos. I need to make sure of this because you're in Mass. You have cool season grass. You may have seen some of my videos where I have shown using simazine, prodiamine, and image together to help prevent POA as like a concoction for warm season grass to help prevent POA. Do not spray that on a cool season lawn. So for cool season grass, all you're going to want to use is just prodiamine. If you have some weeds after the fact that are still emerging, you can use a post-emergent herbicide, tenacity, or something similar, or a three-way or something. But make sure if you're watching my videos, because I do content primarily for warm season grass, but I did one that I showed a cool season mix and a warm season mix. For cool season, all you're going to want to use is prodiamine. And for warm season, you have a lot more options. But yeah, same thing. The average soil temps of 70 degrees. Before that happens, you want to get your prodiamine down. That's going to give you the best chance for keeping POA out of your lawn. So hope that helps, sir, and appreciate having you as a viewer. Of course, hopefully I was just kidding about, the question. It was a great question. So if you have anything else that I can help with, definitely drop a question and a comment, and I'll do my best to get back to you. All right, LG's here. He says, a high 53 degree highs and 28 degree lows for us today. That is insane. Dude, you need to move. You're already getting freezing temps. That's not good. That's not good. That is definitely not good, man. It's only October. How are you getting freezing temps already? That's not a good look, man. All right, next up is R. Reed, where he says, hey guys, how's everyone doing? Hey Ron, long time. I'm in Douglasville. Hopefully I can make it after work. Yeah, get out there, man. I think, so here's the thing. It goes from noon, the turf park party goes from noon until 5. Again, if you can, I'm not sure what time you get off work, but it's worth coming out, man. It's worth coming out. Again, Eric, his family, Andrew, they put a lot of work into the event. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you just want to go check out real mowers, it's really cool. It's cool to come just for that. The turf park is looking pretty good. I think they're going to give you there's going to be some opportunities to use some of the mowers, not all the mowers. You're not going to be able to mow with all of them. With the outlet, I don't know if I'm gonna run that, mainly because it's the 27-inch cut that we're a couple of passes and we're gonna run out of stuff to cut. So, but the Greensmaster, if you want to have a go at the Greensmaster, that will likely be available. We'll see. But I mean, if for nothing else, if you just want to check out a lot of really cool real mowers, it's worth it for that alone, right? If you like cornhole and football and just having a good time and free food, there is that. All good reasons to make the trip. All right, next up is Decline. He says, I just put down 7,000 square feet of stadium zoysia sod in central Texas. So worried it's too late, but it was my only chance to renovate that part of the lawn. It's probably going to be fine, Decline. Now, here's the thing. I've not personally sodded zoysia, this part of the season, but it's not like you did it in the middle of winter, right? So it's probably going to be okay. I mean, Bermuda would absolutely be fine, but zoysia, it should be just fine. You are, where do you say you are? You're in Texas, in central Texas. Yeah, so you're still a ways off from getting, freezing weather or consistently freezing weather. So you should be okay. It should root in just fine. Shouldn't be a problem at all. Definitely take pictures of it. If you can, get some pictures of how it looks now and take a 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, 2 months from now, take another set of pictures and see how it's doing. I think you're gonna find that you're gonna be okay. Next up is D and D and D and something Q. It says, Ron, do compost tea apps work on the lawn? Yes. Yeah, they do. They do help. Who was it? I think it was the guys at My Soil Lab rather, not My Soil, but the guys they're affiliated with My Soil. The guys at Soil Lab did a test of do tea or tea grounds or coffee grounds, do they help? Do they have any benefits to the lawn? And what was interesting that they found was when you first apply it, there's a slight reduction in the amount of available nitrogen, but the other nutrient levels, they saw a slight increase in availability. So this was kind of interesting. They just said, hey, if you're going to do it, maybe do a light nitrogen application along with it. But in every other nutrient other than nitrogen, there's a slight increase. I'm going to see if I can find the video while I'm here. D&D. I'll let you know exactly so I can find it and get it to you. But yeah, go to Soil Lab and just if you want to subscribe to their channel because those guys put up a lot of really awesome content. Find the video here for you. They actually tested that very thing as far as coffee grounds. They're doing a bunch of different things. They're doing the one here on eggshells. Do eggshells in the garden work, right? So they're doing a lot of the kinds of things of, you know, the questions that people commonly ask about, you know, adding things to the soil. What effects do they have? And, you know, because these guys are actually scientists and this is what they do. Like soil is what they do. They are in a position to do the testing and get you some real results. So if you want at D&D, this is, you asked for tea, but I imagine the results would be similar. Tea, what they actually show in this is coffee, but it's coffee grounds in soil video. Take a look at this video from them. They do the testing and they show the results. So yeah, there are benefits to it. There are benefits to making that application. But check out the video and you'll see their testing methodology and everything that they found when they did it. All right, next up is Heartfelt Fashion. He says, "Yo, Ronnie, I'll see you tomorrow." You know, my mom. Only my mom has ever really calls me that. Calls you Ronnie. What? Yeah, but I guess just as a little sidebar. I don't know why I shared that with you, but yeah, man. We'll see. Hopefully, see you tomorrow. I know you're making a road trip. It's a drive for you, but yeah, it should be a great time, man. You will have fun. It's going. I'm telling you, the weather's supposed to be awesome, and the guys are really putting together a good event. They're really going all out to try and make the event as fun for everybody that shows up there. So definitely stop by, show some appreciation, eat some good food, play some cornhole, watch football. Hopefully they have the TVs fixed to where there's not any Alabama games on. I mean, we can have like Georgia. You know, I think Lee's and Ole Miss fans are probably going to have to watch some of that too. But I mean, just, you know, because, you know, the Alabama crowd is just, especially if they win, can you imagine? Ugh. All right. Next up is Ben Raham. He says, "Look forward to meeting y'all now that I can make it tomorrow." Yeah, man. Definitely come out, Ben. It should be a great time. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And then next up, we got Zoysia versus Bermuda. He says, "Happy Friday, 164 days till spring. Please hurry." Man, why? We are just now getting into like the fall. Fall's only been here not even a month yet. And you're already looking for spring? No, because you know what spring means? Spring means, for me, a ton of work. Spring means scalping, which is not a small amount of work on my lawn. It means getting out your pre-emergent apps, and now we're going to do insecticide. It's just like the entire process starts all over again. So yeah, enjoy the downtime. Enjoy it. It's going to be here before you know it, but I mean, you know, the fall hasn't even started in yet. When fall isn't in here, winter hasn't even shown up yet. And Zoysia versus Bermuda is like, get spring here. Let's get going. I get it, man. You want to get out there and start mowing again, but I'm good. Let's take the few months off that we're gonna have and enjoying it. I'll be good with mowing once every couple of weeks here over the next few months. All right, next up is Grown Man Grass. Says, "Looking forward to the party tomorrow. I wanted to see that new outlet of yours up close since you demoed it on YouTube." Yeah, you will get to see it up close. Here's the thing, guys. I rarely wash the mowers. I mean, I'll clean the reel off after mowing, but as far as like washing them, I actually use my equipment, so I don't like baby it. But for you guys, because I want it to look nice, I went out and I, got a little bit of degreaser and washed it down. I got out there and scrubbed it and cleaned the reel up as well as I could. I mean, it's not perfect, but I cleaned it up as well as I could. And so it should look nice. You want to take a picture with it, photo op with the mower. It's going to look nice and clean and presentable. So I'm not bringing out like a dirty mower for you guys to come look at. So hopefully you enjoy it. I will tell you that people that see the video, the outlet video online, and then they see the mower in person, the impression they always have is it's bigger, it's a lot more substantial in person. It's like a tank. Like when you see the Greensmaster, which is, I think it's a good size mower. It's not a small mower, and you have it alongside the outlet. It literally looks like a toy. and moving them. Like if you mow with the outlet for a while, if I go out and I mow, during the summer when I was using it a lot, and then I would switch to the Greens Master when I was set the outlet in for sharpening. Literally the first couple of mows, I felt like I could manhandle the Greens Master because it was just so much lighter, so much smaller to use. So yeah, you want to check it out? You'll be able to see it live in person tomorrow. Should be a great time. Next up is Thurston R. He says, "Hey Ron, I've mowed at least 3 times since overseeding my established turf type tall fescue / Kentucky bluegrass lawn in early September. Can a pre-emergent be applied in early November, and do I risk root pruning or wait till spring?" So here's the thing. I do not have cool season grass, and all the guidance I've seen as far as cool season grass, like establishing a cool season lawn, so whether it be by sod or seed, is to wait a year. So as far as applying it now, I would say that's a no-go. You're probably not going to get a great result if you do that. The earliest, if you want to try and buck against conventional wisdom, spring, you might be able to make a case for that, but I would shy away from doing it now. It's only been, you said, 3 mowings, so September was only 7 days ago. So I would take the hit to just realize you're going to be fighting weeds a little bit here into the winter and into the spring. And you can evaluate whether or not you want to take the risk of doing pre-emergent in the springtime. But again, conventional wisdom for cool season grass says you wait a year before you do pre-emergent. So really, if you did pre-emergent this fall, you really wouldn't want to do it again until next fall. Here's the thing though. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. That really is going to apply to the grass that you just recently planted. So let's say your lawn you already have like the majority of your lawn is already established and is growing fine, right? And you overseeded just to thicken it up a little bit, and you don't care if that thins out or some of that, you have some root pruning or some adverse effects against that. Then if you want to go ahead with pre-emergent, in that case, you could just know that you could damage your overseeding project. You know what I mean? So in other words, if we take the example of a lawn that is 2, 3, 4 years old, it's an established lawn, and you've overseeded it this fall to try and thicken it up a bit. And if by next spring you say, hey, listen, I want to put down pre-emergent because I don't want to have to deal with crabgrass and other nasty weeds in my lawn over the spring and summer, knowing that you may negatively affect the grass that was planted this fall, if you're good with that, which if it were me, I'd probably be good with that, because it's not like all the grass is brand new. It's just small pockets of it, right? So if you're okay with that, knowing that you may cause some of it to go away, some of it to thin out a little bit, then you could go ahead with your pre-emergent app. But this fall, I probably wouldn't. I really wouldn't, because you spend all that time and money seeding it, and I really don't think you want to risk undoing that right now. The earliest I would consider is in the spring, and know that you may hurt the grass that was just planted last month if you decide to go that route. But that's your call. That's your call. All right, next up is Patrick in Texas, where he says, we are still seeing temps in the high 80s, 90 degrees yesterday. Can we still apply fertilizer and plant growth regulator? Yeah, absolutely. Dude, so if the grass is still actively growing, so if you're still out there mowing a couple times a week, then Primo is still on the table and fertilizer is still on the table. What I would say is, if you want to start, you probably want to start like lowering the amount of nitrogen you're putting in the lawn. But if it's still growing now, like it did a month ago, then yeah, absolutely still feed it. If the lawn is actively growing, you should feed it. If your lawn looks like how my lawn looks and how a lot of the lawns in Georgia look right now, where they are starting to turn, they're like a faded green and trying to go to sleep, then no, I wouldn't. Growth regulator, there's not any real reason to do it, because there's nothing really, like, nature's regulating it. And as far as slamming a bunch of nitrogen in the lawn, there's just no reason to do that, because the grass is not going to be able to make use of it, and all you're really doing is increasing your potential for having a disease problem next spring. So if it were me, if your lawn's not actively growing, the grass is not, you're not out there mowing a couple times a week, then I wouldn't. So your case, you are. So then yes, get your PGR app down. Do your half rate app. And then do your normal, your feeding, the same product that you're using. Again, if you want to back the rate down a little bit, that would probably be a good idea, but I would still feed it if you're actively still mowing the lawn. Absolutely, but we don't have that problem in Georgia, because Mother Nature said, you know what, last year you guys had way too much fun this time of year, so we're just going to pull back, we're going to throttle back on all the fun, and we're going to have the lawn check out early this fall, which seems to be what's happening. All right, thanks again, LG. Even though you already did it, I'm going to show it again where it said LG has celebrated 10 months, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 months of membership of the channel. So LG was one of the first people to sign up. Really do appreciate all the support. And yeah, man, there you go. So if you guys feel like supporting the channel on a continued basis, you can go to the YouTube channel to youtube.com/c/Ron Henry, and there you'll see a join button. Actually, I can show you guys if you feel like doing it. It's easy enough, but I'll show you here really quick. And I'll pause this right here. If you go to the YouTube channel, which is where we are right now, watching me talk about me. You'll see a join button. You can subscribe as well, and then you can also join and add the channel membership if you wish to do so. That's what LG is talking about, and that is what the 10 months of membership that you're seeing there is in reference to. So thanks so much, LG. Appreciate the support, sir. I really, really do appreciate it. Next up is Lois. Lois says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Looking forward to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic, and again, really is about, if you're local, getting out to the turf park tomorrow, but then also we are in the time of year for preventative fungicide applications. You know, so pre-emergent, we really shouldn't be talking about pre-emergent this time of year. Like most of you guys should already have it done for most of the country. If you're up north, and again, your average soil temps are trending towards or getting close to that 70-degree temperature range, get your pre-emergent down. So like for me, whenever we started getting soil temps in the consistently in the 70s, I applied my pre-emergent. So in September is when I got that done. Got it done. And it's again, a little bit early is better than late. So if you are up north, where you guys might be a little bit behind us as far as you know, maybe getting your pre-emergent down, then get that, you know, I would get that done like sooner than later. You know what I mean? Actually, you guys would be ahead of us because it's cool. It gets cooler up there first. So at any rate, by this time of year, you should have had your pre-emergent down. Now, as far as options go for that, again, we carry a lot of them here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. You go to golfcourselawn.store, the link that's on the screen and it's pinned as a comment, and then go to shop and go to weed killer. And then as far as pre-emergent goes, you've got a couple of options for, well, you've got one right now. You got dithiopyr is gone, so really you can only get prodiamine right now in granular form, or you can get it in liquid in a water dispersible granule, which you have to mix. Now, if you don't have a large lawn where you don't need 5 pounds of prodiamine, which this is quite a bit, like this will cover, it covers a lot. Something like just over 2 acres, I think is what the math works out to for warm season grass. For cool season grass, it's way more than that. But if you don't need that much, so say you have 6,000 square feet or less for Bermuda, then you can get it in this smaller container, right? It's 5 ounces. That's enough to cover up to 6,000 square feet of Bermuda. Much more of that. I think it's like 10,000 square feet for your cool season grass. But yes, I would absolutely get your pre-emergent down. The only other thing I would say to do this time of year as well is your fungicide application, your preventative fungicide. So there's a couple of options for that. I'll show you that. You go to shop and then fungicide, and then the two are Headway G, which is strictly a fungicide product. It has 2 different fungicides in it, azoxystrobin and propiconazole. And then if you need, again, keyword if, you need an insecticide along with fungicide, that's where Caravan G comes in. This contains azoxystrobin and an insecticide product. So either one of these will work for your fall preventative fungicide app. So that's the only other things that I would say you really should be doing this time of year. And outside of that, just relax, enjoy your time off, enjoy mowing less, watch football, go on vacation, do whatever it is you like to do that doesn't involve having to be out in the lawn all the time, which is outside of, outside of your pre-emergent and your fungicide app. And if you've not done a fall soil test, that's about it. You know what I mean? There's not really a ton of inputs that the lawn really needs this time of year. Thanks for coming to hang out, Lois. I really do appreciate it. We got a super chat here. Another one from Mr. Travis Winston. Appreciate you, Travis.
Super chat received.
He says, happy Friday, Golf Course Lawn Squad. Hit that like button. I appreciate that, Travis. Looking really good. What are you rolling with there, man? Is that a trimmer? California trimmer? It looks like a Honda engine. I can't tell what it is that you got there. But grass is looking good in the avatar. But yeah, guys, if you are here in the live stream, definitely hit that like button. I really, really would appreciate it. It's a free way to support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. The next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, Ron, to lengthen the life of my blades, is it best to just send the reel and blade to be professionally sharpened, or is backlapping sufficient? Wrestling with which one is better long-term and also cost. Yeah, so what's funny is the gentleman that did the sharpening on the Allet, when he got the reel, he says, you know, Ron, this, you know, the reel really doesn't need much as far as grinding goes. It has a slight amount of coning in it, just a slight amount of coning. So he wanted to take that out. So for that reason, he ground it. But what he'll tell you is that when he brought it back to me, he says, unless you are hitting stones or concrete or you're doing something to kind of nick the reel, in most cases, you're able to backlap it, and that should be fine for most people, right? To freshen it up. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of places around here that offer sharpening services, real sharpening services, and all they do is backlap it. You know, they don't get out there and grind it. If they have to grind it, they send it out. They have to send it out to someone with an actual machine to do that type of work. So to prolong the life of the reel, if you can get by with backlapping, let's say you can sharpen once in the beginning of the season, then you get by with backlapping throughout the season to keep it sharp, that's fine. If you are really, really diligent about keeping the tolerance between the reel and the bed knife set to where like one side isn't cutting and the other side is, you're keeping an eye on that to where it's the tolerance is always kept in check. And you're taking care of the reel, like you're keeping it clean, like you're rinsing it off, not allowing it to rust and this kind of thing. Generally just taking care of the mower, as well as just not hitting concrete or cutting anything other than grass with it. You really should be able to get by with backlapping. He did say for Bermuda, that tends to be the case. You should be able to go easily an entire season, maybe a season, more than one season on a sharpen and backlapping. For grasses like zoysia, depending on what kind of zoysia you have, he said, because it's a coarser or thicker grass, that one might cause you to have to sharpen or grind more frequently. But the big thing was, if you're not hitting concrete, which guilty as charged, I've done it. If you're not mowing concrete or mowing sticks or twigs or pine cones or just anything, if you just keep it just to grass and keeping sand out of it, you should be able to get by with just backclapping for the most part to keep it sharp. So in other words, Andrew, if you adjust the reel to bed knife clearance, right, to where you have the amount of clearance that you want, the amount of contact that you want should be relatively light, and it's not cutting, you're not cutting paper all the way across, then try backlapping it. And if it's still not cutting paper all the way across, then that's a sign that, hey, it's probably time to take it in for a grind. In the case of my Allet, it was cutting paper all the way across other than the right side of the reel. So what he measured, he said, yeah, you have a little bit of coning in there was causing that. So he took that all out, cleaned it all up, and now we're good to go. So there's a long answer to what really should be a simple answer, but it all depends. And long term, the more metal you can leave on the reel and bed knife, the better. That's what's best for long term. And for cost standpoint, backlapping pound and a brush is a lot less expensive than sending it out to get it sharpened. All right, next up is Archie Amos. He says, "Evening, young man." Evening, Archie. He says, "When should moisture management cease?" Around this time of year is probably good, Archie. I mean, we're not getting very much rainfall. And, as far as the, in my case of my line, starting to go into dormancy. So I'm not really, I'm not putting any more moisture manager down. The last app that I did was in August. The last moisture management application I did was in August, and I've not done one since then. So yeah, I would say that you are good to go as far as tapering that back if you don't necessarily need it. Now here's the converse of that, because the most correct answer to almost any question is it depends, right? If you live, say, in Florida, where it stays hot for a lot longer and the growing season is a lot longer, then you would still be using a moisture manager. So if the grass is still actively growing and you're still watering it and you just try to keep it, you're doing your normal routine. Like, in other words, if you're still treating the grass now in October the same way you would have treated it in August timeframe, then yeah, moisture managers are probably is a good idea. But if you are in Northeast Georgia, where there's again the lawns are pretty much checking out, there's just no reason to do it. Moisture manager is pretty expensive too, right? So you don't necessarily need to use that this time of year. If you were my neighbor, I would tell you not. All right, next up is Tomax Zonat says, "Hey, what's going on, sir? I see your palindrome there. I see what you got going on there. I see that." And you said, my last applied hydrotane in June. Yeah, so if your last application was in June, technically they say it lasts up to 3 months. So June, July, August, yeah, you're good. I wouldn't, if you were going to do another application, it would have been like August time frame, and that would have carried you throughout the rest of the season. I don't know that I would do an application now. You know, it's a little bit late in the year for me. I wouldn't. So there you go, LG. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, watching me chug lemonade and ice cubes, and the brain freeze, associated brain freeze that went along with it. And but yeah, it was worth it, man. I appreciate the generosity on the super chat. You're helping to pay for getting my mower sharpened. So I got to do what I can, man. Got to go do what I can to keep you guys happy. All right, next up is Jeffrey 5 Ash, where he says, "Finally back to the chat group after a few weeks. Question: what should I be spraying now that the Bermuda is going dormant?" Not a whole lot, man. There's really not. I mean, if you decide that you're going to do your fungicide application in liquid form, you could do that. You could be spraying your fungicide app. You could do that. That's something you could be doing. Something you can also do, and I didn't cover that year round, depending on where you live in the country, are as a product like Essential G. Like Essential G, as long as the ground doesn't freeze where you are, like so in anywhere, pretty much anywhere in Georgia, you can apply that every month of the year if you want. When the grass is growing, when it's dormant, you can apply it year round. That's something you can also do. But as far as spraying fertilizers or anything like that, there's not really, and again, you need to say what part of the country you're in. But if you were my neighbor, I would say, no, not, there's no real need to really be, hitting the lawn with any nitrogen or anything like that this time of year. You know what I mean? If you want to do like a granular biostimulant like Essential G, that's no problem. If you want to get your fungicide application down in a granular form, that's fine. Or if you want to spray it, that is also fine too. I think outside of that, get your soil test done. But that there's not a ton to really do this time of year. Hopefully you've already got your pre-emergent down. Like that's something, if you've not done that yet, that's something you should be spraying. If your preference is to use liquid products, that's something you could be spraying this time of year. But ideally you would have done that already last month. But yeah, there's not a ton, Jeffrey, as it's going dormant. If you want to do a winterizer type product or winterizer type application, I would say put down a product that has has potassium in it. Like the highest macro in it is potassium. So I'll show you a couple of options for that if you want to go that route. Again, not strictly necessary, but if you want to give the lawn a little bit of potassium to close the season out, you've got a couple of options here that I'll show you. All right, so the first is this stress blend. This again is a good option because it's only 7% nitrogen. Again, not too much nitrogen, but then 20% potassium. So it's a good choice for a winterizer fertilizer. If you decide you don't want to do any kind of nitrogen at all, another option, we just got this back in stock now, is the 0048. This is just straight sulfate of potash. This is just a straight potassium product. Out of the two, if you're asking me between this and this, which one I would do this time of year, I would lean more towards the straight potash product. This is going to be fine too. Either one of these will work well, but not applying any nitrogen, especially if the lawn is going, if you had my lawn where it's going dormant and there's no reason for me to really try to push any kind of growth, this is what I would be using on my lawn this time of year. Now, if you are in Florida, North Florida, or some parts of Texas where it's still warm, and you're still mowing, maybe not as much, that is where doing the stress blend makes a lot of sense, because you got a little bit of nitrogen in there to drive the train. But the primary macro is your potassium. So those are some options as well, as far as like winterizers or products to close out the season with. But again, this time of year, the lawn really doesn't need a whole lot. Just let the grass do what it's going to do. Let it go to sleep, relax, and then you'll come back again next year and enjoy it. And Cedric is saying, You win LG. Yeah, he does, man. You see, so his name not only is his name the show sponsor, but he's got his name, in lights. Literally, he's got the star, he got the stars around his name. He won tonight. So thanks again, LG. I really appreciate the generosity. It really, really does help out. All right, Jason Bourne. Oh, the Bourne identities in the house. We have the spy in the house tonight. He says, "Bro, centipede grass down south. Winter is coming." Okay, I hear you. Sounds good. All right, next up is Sundria T. He says, "Ron, we chatted a week or two ago about testing my soil. I see 2 prices on your website. Which should I use?" Okay, well, that's a great question. So soil testing is something we should be doing this time of year. So let's talk about soil testing. I sometimes say a topic near and dear to my heart, but there's a lot of topics that are near and dear to my heart. So I'm just going to say, let's talk about soil testing. All right, so let's go over to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and then soil testing. Really, Sundria, if you already have, show you real quick. If you already have one of these guys, if you already have a probe, like the core tool, then what you're going to want to go with is just whichever soil test pack makes sense for you, right? So you've got just a standard soil test kit here, which has, you can get it 1-pack, 2-pack, or 4-pack. Obviously, 4-pack gets you the best price break. This is what I would use if you already have one of these. If you don't have one of these, then you have 2 choices. You can either go with the starter pack, which gets you just the probe and 1 soil test kit. The better value is the Pro Pack, which gets you 1 of these and 2 soil test kits. So if you went with this, you are covered for this fall, and you're also covered for the spring. And then the net cost of the 2 soil test kits and the probe is cheaper. So as far as like being the best deal, this is the best deal if you need one of these. If you don't need one of these, then just getting the soil test kit in whatever or this is just a standard soil test kit in whatever quantities you need is the way I would go. So if you're if you're on a budget, things are a little tight, then the starter pack is fine. But for a few dollars more, you come out better with the Pro Pack. So that will help. All of them include the same soil test kit. Like they all include the, get over here and I can show you real quick. All of them come with the instructions. They come with the prepaid envelope. They come with the scoop for getting your sample or putting it in there. And then most importantly, it comes with the deionized water and the ion exchange resin. This guy, little bulb that's in here, what this does was you take a couple scoops of your soil that from various parts of your lawn, you mix them up in a bucket, and then take a scoop or 2 of this, dump it in here, and then close off really tight. And what this does is it behaves like a synthetic root. It absorbs nutrient along the same lines as how your grass does. So it's a really great way of measuring actual availability of what's actually available in the soil for uptake by your grass, which is why I'm a real big fan of the My Soil test kits. Plus, the results are super, super easy to understand. Like if you never watch another one of my videos, you'll be able to look at the results and you'll be able to know, hey, this is what I should be doing as far as applications, because they tell you whether your pH is where it's in the optimal zone, low, good, or high. Same thing for all your macro and micronutrients, low, good, or low, optimal, or high. And then if any of those are out of the optimal zone, in the lower left-hand corner of the soil test results, there are links to products you can purchase that will correct the deficiencies that are in your soil test. So if you never even have to look at any of my videos as far as how to actually use them, if you just follow what comes in the instructions. But just to make things even easier, in the description of all of these videos, you'll find 2 videos. One is on how to use the soil test kit, which I've got here, and then another one that explains how to interpret the results, like how it's mainly a video about soil pH. But between these 2, you should be all squared away. Again, it's not hard to use. It's really straightforward, but I show you how I go about doing a soil test or using the kit to collect samples, and then how to read the results and make a decision around what you should be applying to your lawn. So hope that helps, sir. And if you need anything else, you got some follow-up questions, let me know. And you says, also, are you testing the soil yourself? My grass burnt because I put some Weed Be Gone on weeds and it kills some of my grass. Also, are you testing the soil yourself? Are you asking? So no, I am not doing I'm not the one. Your sample is not coming to me. Your sample is going to my soil. It's going to I think it's going to Washington. Yeah, it's going to Predictive Nutrient Solutions. Yeah, in Washington. It's going to the North Pacific Northwest, and they have the machinery to analyze the sample. And yeah, so it's not go. I am doing a test myself. Yes, but your soil sample will not come to me. It will go to the guys at my soil. It's not going to come to me. And you say you put some Weed Be Gone and it burnt the grass. Yeah, I don't know, man. Here's the thing. I've never used Weed Be Gone, that product, to know how well it works. Like anything, most consumer herbicide products have a bit of fudge factor built into them. So unless you heavily over applied it, like that can definitely cause it to kill some of your grass. If you applied the wrong version that's not safe for your grass type, because I think that's an important point. This is worth digging into a little bit. Is whenever you select a herbicide, right? There's two things you really want to pay attention to. Well, more than two, but two major things you really want to pay attention to when it comes to picking a herbicide to use in your lawn. The first is it safe? Is it rated for my grass type? So for example, I'll show you here. If we go over here and we look at like the herbicide section on the golf course lawn store, right? So you got like Celsius, which is an excellent herbicide for broadleaf weeds in warm season grass. But if you were to use this on like a fescue lawn or a ryegrass lawn or Kentucky bluegrass lawn, it's going to injure or kill it, right? So thing one is make sure the herbicide you pick is the correct and is correct for your particular grass type. The second is what weeds is it labeled to kill? Because if you look at something like Celsius, although it's great, I love it, it's not that great against sedges. I mean, it has some coverage for sedges, but it's not that great against sedges. It doesn't really have very much coverage for POA, but Certainty, which is another warm season herbicide, selective post-emergent herbicide, it kills all sedges pretty much in warm season grass, and it's devastating against POA. So there's two things you got to keep in mind, right? Is whenever you select a weed killer, and the Weed Be Gone product, I'm not really that familiar with it to be able to tell you, but one, is it safe for my grass type? And then second, on the label, does it kill the weeds that I am trying to target? And the way you'll know is if you can look at the weed, take a picture of it. You can use like Google picture search, or there's other websites you can go to, like your local extension office, and you can compare that picture of the weed that's in your lawn with what the extension office says, and it'll tell you, hey, for this weed, it'll say it's I don't know, like yellow nut sedge or whatever. You'll have options for targeting that weed in your grass, that choosing a herbicide that will target that weed in your grass that's not going to damage your grass. Here's the thing to keep in mind, right? Even if you use something like Celsius, right, which is a very good herbicide, very safe for Bermuda or Zoysia or St. Augustine. It's safe for pretty much all warm season grass types other than Bahia. You can use Celsius. And the same for Certainty. Certainty you can apply on Bahia, but Celsius you cannot. Even though these are safe, right? They're labeled as, again, air quotes, safe. They are only safe when applied at the correct rates. So if I go out and I take Celsius and I apply it at double or triple the rate, even though it's technically safe for Bermuda, if you over apply it by a factor of 2 or 3, it's going to damage the grass. It's going to kill the weeds, but it's also going to damage, perhaps even get to the point, I'm going to say it's probably unlikely to really kill it, but it's going to create some serious damage, a serious adverse effect to your grass type if you ever apply it. So once we've met those two requirements, one, we got a herbicide that is correct for our grass type. And then two, we check the label and say, hey, this weed killer that is safe for my particular grass type will target this particular weed that I have in my lawn. The third thing is to make sure you read the label at least twice and then read it one more time around how to apply it properly. And if you do that, you're going to get a good result. It's going to do what it's designed to do. It's going to kill the weeds, and it's going to minimize the damage that it causes to your grass. So this small tips there, Sandria, your grass is likely going to bounce back. I mean, you said it killed it. If you have cool season grass, it may have. If you have warm season grass like Bermuda, it's likely it just discolored it really. It probably just injured it, made it look really nasty. But if it's Bermuda, it's more than likely going to bounce back. So hopefully that helps. There's not a whole lot we can do at this point to undo what's been done, but hopefully going forward, that little explanation will help you as far as picking in your herbicide selection and also in applying it properly. So hope that helps. And sorry your grass is damaged, but it'll bounce back, man. It's grass. It'll come back. It will come back. Okay, guys, and another topic, and I saw a question here about Essential G, and I want to talk about that. So, some of you guys placed orders for Essential G earlier this week, and there was a delay this week with getting some of that shipped. The folks at the Miramichi Green warehouse, the warehouse where this stuff ships out of, like some of the people that pack it and label it and ship it, both like a couple of them got sick and were down for the count. So we had a few days there where nothing went out because the people that actually do it were not, they were sick. They weren't able to. That's been resolved now. Anything that was ordered this week has already been packed. You should see, you should have already gotten tracking, but then it should have also, it was picked up today, so you should see it on its way to you. Again, my sincerest apologies for that. It's just one of those things where it's unfortunate that several people all got sick at the same time, and hopefully it doesn't happen too often. But I want to just personally apologize for the delay in getting that out to you guys. I hate when you guys order stuff and it doesn't ship as quickly as it could, but it was something that was frankly out of my control. But it doesn't really matter. You don't care, right? You want your stuff. I get it, but that's why if some of you guys were ordering some of the Miramichi Green products earlier this week, and you saw, hey, it was a little bit slower than usual for it to go out the door. That's why. So we had some people that were under the weather. They're fine now, and everything is shipping. But again, my sincerest apologies for the delays in getting your stuff out to you. All right, next is Quincy Williams, where he says, "Hey Ron, what should I use to kill fescue in my Bermuda?" To kill fescue in Bermuda, you could use Celsius. You could use a lot of different options. You could use Celsius. You could use Certainty. You could use Katana. You could use what's a really expensive one? You could use Revolver. There are a lot of different options for killing cool season grass in warm season grass. So it's really your call. Celsius can work. Katana is maybe a little bit less expensive, but I mean, Celsius is a good. I'm a fan of Celsius because it is, as far as herbicides go, it is one of the if you can use gentler as a term for herbicides, it's one of the gentler herbicides that is far less likely to cause injury to Bermuda when applied at the correct rates, and it's very effective against the weeds that it's labeled to kill. It to include cool season grass. So there's people that use Celsius to spray out to get rid of ryegrass in the springtime, and it works really well for that without hurting the Bermuda too much. So yeah, I would look into Celsius or Katana, or I think Certainty might even do it too. I can look at the label for Certainty here really quick. Let's see here. Actually, let me do that here in another window. But yeah, there's several different options. Check out Celsius definitely. And I'm looking at Certainty because that might be a slightly cheaper option for you, because Celsius, there's a recent price increase for it for everybody. So you want to, if you can avoid using it, then yes. So yeah, so Certainty. So actually, I would use Certainty. Certainty is labeled for killing fescue. So what I would say, Quincy, is go with this. So go to the golf course lawn store, go to the weed killer section, and then I would go with Certainty because it's $25 less expensive than Celsius. And as far as a herbicide for this time of year that you will also be able to use as well, this is a good option because it's great for POA, which if you weren't spot on your Pre-emergent app, you're probably going to get a little bit of POA in your lawn. Certainty is really good for that, whereas Celsius is not, and it's also a little bit less expensive, and it will take care of the fescue in your Bermuda. Either one of these will work, but this is a little bit less expensive, and for this time of year, you will be able to use this more often, more frequently than you will this. Celsius, you can always add that to your herbicide arsenal in the spring whenever the warm season weeds start waking up again, the broadleaves really start coming out again. But yeah, so Certainty, go with that one. So you'll save yourself a little bit of money and will work well. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. We got another super chat. Let me run down here and grab that really quick. We got two, actually. One from Robert Majoros. I really do appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Super chat received.
And then I didn't see a question there, but we have another, but I appreciate the support. And then we have another one from Lance F.
Super chat received.
He says, thank you for all you do. You're the best. Have a great day tomorrow. Thank you so much, Lance F. Looking forward to getting a good sweat out tomorrow morning. Karate as always. and then getting out and just meeting, just hanging out and just having a relaxing Saturday, hanging out with you guys and talking about grass and that kind of thing. And listening to the Alabama fans give me a hard time, right? Because I'm sure that's going to happen. All right, next up is Raider Nation. Raider Nation. He says, "Hey Ron, I ordered my Essential G this week. How long does the fungicide headway G last when applied?" So 28 days. So most fungicides, you're going to get 3 to 4 weeks of coverage out of them, which is why I do 2 apps. So one that was done last week, and the end of this month, I'll do a second one, and then that'll be it until next year. So the fungicides, typically 3 to 4 weeks is what you can expect out of them, Raider Nation, because really what we're after is we're doing the fungicide app, or ideally 2 of them, one in October and then one in the beginning of November, is as an option to try and prevent spring dead spot next year. That's why we're doing fungicide. That's the reason why I do it. And again, the reason why they're 28 days apart or a month apart is because that's about the effectiveness that you get out of a single application of a fungicide. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support too, as far as getting some Essential G. If I can help with anything else, let me know. All right, Cameron Williams says, "Hey Ron, how you doing?" "I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing all right. How you doing?" "I'm doing all right." All right, next up is I cannot say this. LRCX ED. Reading's hard. He says, "I dug out all the Dallas grass, as you said a couple months ago. I sprayed Fusilade 2 to kill the Bermuda today. If it gets controlled, I want to reseed the holes from the dugout Dallas grass. Am I okay?" Yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing. You got rid of the Dallas grass. What I would do instead of seeding, I would if you are really picky about the way your grass looks, and if you're on this live stream, you probably are picky about the way your grass looks. Instead of using seed, I would go out and get like a pro plugger and transfer plugs from the areas of your lawn that are stronger to the areas where you dug the Dallas grass out, because that is one way you can be absolutely guaranteed that when the grass fills in those areas where the Dallas grass used to be, it's going to match. If you go out and get a Bermuda grass seed, depending on what you get, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to perfectly match your existing lawn. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. I've had, like, my lawn, the base of it is Tifway 419 sod. I've had Tifway 419 sod brought in to replace like some areas when trees were removed, and it didn't match. And it was the same, it's supposed to be the same type of Bermuda, right? So with a seed, which you're not going to be able to get Tifway in seed form, it's unlikely that it is going to match in in those areas. So if it were me, what I would recommend is, instead, you've done everything else right. You dug out the Dallas grass, great job. You are getting, well, let me say it straight. You're getting rid of the Bermuda. I'm trying to understand this. You got rid of the Dallas grass. You're getting rid of the Bermuda. So do you have a cool season lawn? Is that what I'm reading here? Because if you got rid of the Dallas grass, you got rid of the Bermuda. Like, what are you trying to do, a renovation, or what is it that, let me see if I can scroll down. Okay. Yep. Next comment. I have a fescue lawn. Okay. So in that case, yes, you're good. You're good to go out and seed. So it sounds like what I'm reading from you, LXRXED, is that you're doing a renovation. So you got rid of the Dallas grass, you killed the Bermuda, and now you're doing a renovation. You're putting down fescue. Okay. So in that case, yeah, sure. Go for it. Go ahead and put out your fescue seed. Sure. You can ignore what I said as far as not getting it to match. I again, because I'm a warm season guy, anytime I hear people talking about seeding, a lot of times I'm thinking you're talking about another Bermuda grass seed, which you're not. You're talking about a fescue seed. So yes, you did it all right. Go ahead and put your seed down and enjoy. Should be good to go. Because typically with cool season lawns, you guys tend to do a lot of blends. Like even with like the Kentucky bluegrass and ryegrass, a lot of the seed that you'll see people buy will be like a blend. It'll be like 70% rye and 30% Kentucky bluegrass, or vice versa. Like, you guys tend to do blends in the lawns a lot. So yeah, go ahead and get your fescue down, and that's good work, man. And here's the thing. I'm glad that you actually got it done, because I know when I told you, hey, just get out there and dig it out a couple times, just do it a few evenings each week, and you'll make really good progress. I'm glad to see that you actually took that advice and that you got it all cleaned up. And it probably wasn't as bad as you thought, right? Like, once you kind of get the hang of removing it, it's really not that bad. All right, next up is No Oliveira. He says, "Hey Ron, best approach to minimize grass/weeds around shrubs and flower beds without affecting the Bermuda grass." Okay, so there's a pre-emergent product called Preen. It's normally in a yellow bag. That is a good option for using as a herbicide to use to try and prevent Bermuda from or prevent weeds from growing in your beds. Now, as far as Bermuda, if you're also trying to keep Bermuda out of your beds, what I would say is if you can, because we did this with real rollers here this past 2 weeks ago, and we got a good result this time. This time around doing this approach is if you have, like, say, your mulch beds, right? You have your mulch beds, you have, like, I don't know, like a some pavers, and then your lawn. If you're going to, and you have some Bermuda that, for example, that got into your beds and you're trying to kill the Bermuda off, if you don't want to affect the grass, you want to minimize that. If you have a stick edger on the mulch bed side of the lawn, like set it really deep and cut like a really is cut a set it deeper than you normally would just for edging, and make a pass along those pavers. The reason why is that if you use anything like Fungicide or glyphosate or something that's strong that you're going to need to be able to kill the Bermuda, if you do that, you're disrupting the root system, any connections between the Bermuda that's in the bed and that's in the lawn, and you're minimizing the chances of damaging the Bermuda in the lawn. So if you guys have been following the channel, you guys know I did Fungicide and glyphosate on my beds. I didn't do any of that, and the grass that was near the pavers got a bit discolored. We did the exact same thing as far as Fungicide, glyphosate combination, exact same combination, same concentration, same ratios and everything. We did that at the Real Rollers Turf Park. The differences this time is they had a stick edger and they cut a nice, like a very deep edge along the each of the turf plots. The Bermuda is dying off really nicely. If you guys come out tomorrow, you'll be able to see it. But you'll see, as far as discoloration to the grass, the stuff they want to keep looking nice, it still looks great. So that's the one thing I would tell you as far as eliminating eliminating Bermuda in your beds. And then as preventing it, look into Preen. It's spelled Preen. You should be able to pick it up at any of your local, like Home Depot sometimes carry it, or any of your other big box stores will likely carry it. Actually, I can see if I can find a link here for you. Like that's a good option for mulch beds. So Preen weed preventer. This right here. If you want to get it on Amazon, because you don't feel like going out, then you can look into this. So at Noe and Preen. So this product. There you go. So check it out on Amazon, and you should be good to go. All right, next up is Lowell. Lowell Mengel says, Ron, it's always a competition. Can't let those weeds win. Love your site and your great advice. Thank you. You're very, very welcome, sir. You're very, very welcome. And I hope you guys, you Alabama guys and gals, know I'm just giving you a hard time. It's just fun. It's just fun. I like to, I amuse myself a lot of times. So please don't take it seriously if you guys think I'm talking smack about Alabama. Although I kind of am. All right, next up is seed time harvest. It says care and I says, hey, good evening, Ron. What do you prefer, gas or battery powered? Ooh. Okay, so I will tell you, I used to be strongly, firmly in the gas camp. You know what I mean? Like, a real mower, it's got to run on gas. It's got to make noise. Gas is better. It's gonna be consistent. I don't have to worry about the batteries running down on me. It's gonna be a hassle. But ever since getting the C27, that has changed. I mean, it's a very nice mower. As far as like having range anxiety and like running out of battery, that's never a problem with that mower. And fun story, and again, a lot of you guys that are really into batteries will kind of get a good laugh out of this. So I was cleaning up the mowers, right, getting them ready to take over to Real Rollers for the event for tomorrow. The C27, which is battery powered, I pulled the batteries out of it. I put some bags around the areas I don't want to get wet because of the electronics, and I hosed it down, soaked it up, washed it all off, and we were good to go. Slapped the battery in it and wheeled it off. No problems whatsoever, right? So with my Greensmaster, did the same thing. I put my degreaser on it, hosed, wiped, scrubbed it down, and I probably got some water. I don't know, like in the so whatever drives the ignition system. So getting the thing to start, it wouldn't start. I could, like for the life of me, I couldn't get it to start. So what do? I drag it all the way back to the garage. I leave it in the garage. And so I wake up in the morning. This morning, it's got like the smell of like a strong smell of gasoline in the garage. So I'm not sure what's going on because I didn't. I mean, I did fill the mower up, but I didn't overly fill it or do anything outside the ordinary, right? So I'm trying to start it again today, getting it ready for whenever it's getting ready to take it over to real rollers, and it still can't get it to start. So what I got to do now is I pull the spark plug out of it. I've got to because it hydrolocks. I pull the spark plug out. I got to run, pull the starter a couple of times, get all the gas out of the combustion chamber, and then because the plug is now fouled, I have to now go to advanced auto, get a fresh plug, slap that in there, then it starts up, it runs fine, all is fine with the world. I say all that to say that, when assuming that you get a quality battery mower, it's a whole lot less hassle. Now, could I have done a better job like bagging up the areas of the mower of the Greensmaster that should not have gotten wet? Yes. But I mean, you figure the Owlet is an electric mower, and electricity and water typically don't mix, and some areas got a little bit of got wet, and it was just fine. I stopped the battery and it just turned it on. It was like whoop, little RC car rolled right off, ready to go, ready for action. And it was quite an event with getting the Greensmaster running again. So I like both of them. I think they both have their place. I have a gas-powered still combi system, and I really, really do like it. Whenever that gets replaced, I believe still makes an electric-powered combi system, and I will probably go to the electric because it's just easier. It's easier, it's quieter, it's cleaner. I don't have to get and store gas. There is that. So I'm slowly going over to the dark side of taking the electric route, but yeah, if you'd asked me a year ago, I'd be like, no, there's no way. But again, as long as the battery technology now has gotten to the point to where you can get through an entire mowing session or edging session or whatever it is you need to do without having to recharge. Because that was my big thing. I did not want to have to be out there mowing, and halfway through mowing, I go, I got to stop and get batteries and charge them and all this kind of stuff. That, for the most part, assuming you get a mower that is properly sized for your lawn, and along with batteries that have enough amp hours that are properly sized for your lawn, it's not really an issue. You know what I mean? So I can mow the back lawn like 4 times on a single charge with the C27. So these days, electric, as painful as it is for me to say, although gas does sound better, and when it comes to cars, I'm going to still say gas-powered cars are better. It's definitely more fun to drive. But for lawn care equipment, battery is definitely becoming a thing. All right, next up is Morrow. He is back. He says, if we overseed our Bermuda with rye now, could we technically top dress again, but when? I mean, if you were going to do it, Morrow, you would want to have done it like in September, like late August, September. If you're planning to overseed with rye, you probably still can, probably likely would still grow in, but if you were trying to do it in the most optimal time, late August, early September, like almost, 6 weeks ago, would have been better. And yeah, if you wanted to do a light top dressing then, could you have? Yes, but I think you're in Georgia. You're not that far from me. So if you're, so in other words, if you want to overseed, yeah, sure, fine. But I don't know that I would top dress, in mid-October. It's your call whether you want to do that. But for me, I would say no. Next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, Al has a good video on setting the rake on the battery-powered reels, but the same method applies. I lowered mine, but not too much, as it will really dig in if it's too low. Yeah, the idea with that, Andrew, is that it's supposed to just tickle the grass. Kind of like a groomer. A groomer's not designed to verticut, right? It's designed to stand the grass up and to help produce a better cut. That little comb that they use, that they put on the bottom of the Sterling. I can't show you on mine because I don't have a camera up there. But that little comb, it's designed for that. Like, you don't want it to be set so low that it's digging in, and you want it to do where it's just literally as you're making a pass, it's tickling the grass and standing it up and helping to produce a better cut. Almost like how a turf rake is, right? If you have a turf rake cartridge for your outlet, you really don't want to set that to where it's digging into the dirt. You want it to where it really should never touch the dirt, and it's literally combing or tickling the grass to stand it up to remove debris, but also stand it up to help get a better cut. So it's the same kind of rule applies as far as how aggressive you would want to set that as you would, say, the turf rake. All right, next up is Ricky A. He says, do you recommend to seed a winter grass like ryegrass? I'm in California and I have Bermuda celebration. It's your call. I don't do it. I don't do it because, again, I'm originally from the Caribbean and I don't like cold weather, and I don't want to have to mow. Like, think about it. Right now, the grass, Ricky, is beginning to slow down. It's starting to go dormant. If I had overseeded my lawn with ryegrass, yes, it would be green and the stripe action would be incredible, and everyone would walk by, would stop and pause, and it'd probably cause accidents on the street because they'd be so amazed by how awesome the color is. But then I'm the guy that have to be out there mowing it, now it's not so bad, but a month from now when it's in the 40s and 30s in the morning, I'd be the one out there having to mow it, right? And I don't want to have to do that. And another reason why I don't prefer, I personally don't like to do this, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but why I don't like to do it is because if you're trying to get your Bermuda to do well next spring, when March timeframe rolls around, you're going to want to use a selective herbicide to get rid of the ryegrass. And what that means is you're spraying something like Celsius or Katana or something similar on your Bermuda as it's coming out of dormancy to get rid of the ryegrass. So the negative effect of that is you are going to slow down your green up on the Bermuda a little bit, because really, when it comes to spraying herbicides, ideally you want to do them when the grass is fully growing really, really well, so it's fully established, growing well, growing aggressively, or when the grass is completely dormant. If you spray herbicides when the grass is transitioning from dormancy into it's waking up in the springtime, remember, even though a product like Celsius is labeled as safe for warm season grass, it still stresses it. It's still a herbicide. It still does introduce some stress to the grass, and spraying that at a time when the grass is trying to transition out of dormancy into its growing season is going to slow down the green up a little bit. So for those reasons, coupled with I don't want to have to mow all year round, and I don't like cold weather, and I don't have to spray herbicide in March on my grass when I'm trying to get to green up, are the reasons why I don't do it. But there's people that do it all the time. Augusta National, like the reason why it looks so awesome in the spring is they overseed the Bermuda with rye. But it's, they're, Augusta, and they've got more money than they know what to do with, and they could do that. But I for me, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Having the grass green year round is not worth it to me for everything that goes along with it, as far as just having to mow all the time and everything I just listed there. But you can do it. You can do it. You can do it and you can get a great result, but just know what you're getting into. Real the Hitman is up next. He says, "Sup, Ron? Hope all is well." I am well, sir. Can't complain. Looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. The next is Mike CS. He says, "A few weeks ago, I overseeded my Jonathan Green Black Beauty." I don't know what the U is. I'm close. I think I'm close, though. Black Beauty, Jonathan Green Black Beauty, something with a U, with an elite blend of perennial ryegrass in an attempt to mow low. I've been maintaining the lawn at 1.5 inches with a Fisker and the rest at 2 inches with a rotary. How do you think it will hold up next spring/summer? Any tips without underground irrigation? I think it's going to be fine. It sounds like you're mowing at a reasonable height of cut. 1.5 to 2 inches should be fine. I think what's going to happen, Mike, is what cool season grass does every year. Like it likes cool season weather. So in this time of year, it should look really nice. In the spring, it should look very nice until June-ish time frame, like May, June-ish time frame, when it starts getting really hot. And then it's going to be stressed out, and it's going to slow down in growth. It's going to discolor a bit. And your goal then should be just to water it and keep it alive and kind of help nurse it through that tough part of the summer until August, September time rolls around, and it's going to green up again. So it should be fine. If you have the ability to water it, then especially during the summer months, that's going to be critical to it doing well. But for the most part, the grass is going to do what it's going to do. Is in-ground irrigation nice or a bonus? Yes, but really, it's more about you, right? As far as in-ground irrigation saves you a lot of headache as far as having to drag hoses around. The grass doesn't care if it gets water from like irrigation from dragging a hose around, or if it gets water from rain, like it just wants water. So in-ground irrigation is more of a you thing than it is like the grass is more particular to water that comes from irrigation, if that makes sense. But from what you're describing, it sounds like a solid plan. I would just say that during the summer months is when you might run into some issues with the grass discoloring due to stress, but that's always the case with cool season grass, right? So hope that helps, sir. And just, keep watching the live stream and reporting and let me know let all of us know how it does when we get to, summertime next year. All right. Colin Potter is back. He says, any experience with aerobic septic? No, I have no experience with that. It waters every night and had a bit of chlorine, and it has a bit of chlorine in it. I have no experience with aerobic septic, but I'll look into it. Now I'm curious about it. So I'll take a screenshot of that and I'll look into it just out of my curiosity. But yeah, no experience on that one. Okay, Michael Shalou says, wondering why you don't try overseeding. I just explained it, Michael. I'm just part of it is laziness, and also I don't want to have to spray herbicides on my lawn in the springtime. I have 11,000 square feet. So think about it. If I were to overseed, like I did it like late August, early September, I'd still be out mowing now, like regularly, and I'll be mowing, because our winters in Georgia are fairly mild, really the entire time. Like I'm more than I'll be mowing like all year round, which is I want to break, man. I want to break, and I don't like being outside when it's cold. I don't want to have to mow when it's cold. So yeah, a lot of it just has to come with me being a wimp when it comes to cold weather, and just kind of wanting a little bit of a break now. So that's my reasoning behind it. Maybe next year. Maybe. I said that last year too, but I'll say it again. Maybe next year. All right. Mike CS says, I want to go lower than 1.5 inches, but it's going to require some leveling and a powered wheel mower. I can't wait. It looks awesome already. Yeah. And here's the thing too. Keep in mind too, Mike, you said it's going to require some leveling. Sure. It's going to require a powered wheel mower. Yes. But it's also going to require the most important thing, which is more time. Like the lower you go, the more you have to mow it, the more more you have to do in general. So in addition to the accoutrement that go with supporting lower cutting heights, your time commitment for the lawn is going to have to go up a bit too. So keep that in mind as well when you're thinking about going lower. All right, Dustin Lloyd is up next. He says, hey, Ron, loving the show. Appreciate that, Dustin. He says, I'm here in Dawsonville, Georgia. First year using Spectacle Flow with split treatment. What is your opinion of Spectacle? Is it worth the money? Yeah, it's awesome. As far as a warm season pre-emergent, it's the bee's knees. It's in my opinion as good as you can get for warm season grass. There's other good ones out there. There's what's other good like high end pre-emergents like just Pennant Magnum. That's good, but Spectacle is as far as controlling POA, which is the thing that like I consider a pre-emergent, like out of a spring pre-emergent. My big thing is I don't want crabgrass on my lawn, and prodiamine or dithiopyr, great for that. Prodiamine or dithiopyr for POA by themselves, they help. If you'll do better than if you did not put anything down, but they leave a bit to be desired as far as controlling POA in Bermuda just by themselves. Whereas Spectacle by itself does an excellent job against POA. Just a single app does a great job. If you're doing the split app, which like Bear has some guidance on doing up to 3 split apps using Spectacle, like you're going to be really good on POA. I don't do that because just a single app has worked well for me. But if you're going to be doing split, I would not expect you to have any problems with Poa annua in your lawn, or really any of the weeds that it's labeled to control in your lawn. Until well into the springtime when it's time for you to do your spring pre-emergent. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's great. Is it worth the money? From a standpoint of how it performs, yes. It really becomes worth the money if you have people that you can split it with, you can share it with, because you figure this 18 ounce, like if you take, let me think, the max, the high rate for Spectacle on Bermuda is right around 0.20 fluid ounces, mixed with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet, right? So 1/20th of an ounce, right? For 1,000 square feet. And if you think about this, this is a 18 ounce bottle. 18-ounce bottle. So if we do, let's see, let's take like if we take 18 and we times 5, what does that come out to? So almost 100,000 square feet, right? So 18 times 5 comes out to, yeah, so 90,000 square feet. So this one bottle will do about 2 acres. And considering that this is not a herbicide that you're going to use time and time again, like you would like Celsius or Certainty. In other words, you're not going to go through this quite as quickly. If you don't have someone to split it with, more than likely, like you may not even use this bottle up before it's time, before it, like, you know, it's you really should replace it from a shelf life perspective. So, you know, if you're not going to use it all up within like say 3 years, it might not be worth it. But if you got someone like, you know, you and a couple of neighbors can go in on a bottle, then yeah, it's totally worth it. As far as like a herbicide, especially for the fall, for controlling POA in warm season grass, Spectacle is incredible. Like most things in life, you get what you pay for, right? So hope that helps, Dustin. Appreciate you watching the show, and I'm glad that you find it entertaining and fun. All right, next up is No Name. He says, I was fortunate enough to buy a year's supply of Humic Max during your holiday sale last year. How does the flagship compare in your opinion, and do you think you'll get Humic Max again next year? So I need to start looking into what the pricing is going to be on it. The goal is to get it again next year because, it's, again, you guys love it. I love it. I miss it. It's a great product. So yeah, the goal is to get it again. How does flagship compare to Humic Max? In some ways, it's better. In some ways, it's worse. So Humic Max does not contain any micronutrients. It is nitrogen, it is potassium, it is humic acid, which is really good. So it's got a good blend as far as just from a pure feeding your grass standpoint, as far as having the nitrogen and potassium balance. I think it's great for that. And it also has humic acid. So as far as improving the biology of the soil, it's got that all in one. And it comes in a prill size. I don't know if I have it here. Well, what do I do with it? Yeah. And it comes in a prill size that is very, very attractive for shortcut turf. So if you're cutting your grass at 3/4 of an inch or less, or just you're mowing your grass short, like Humic Max, in my opinion, is a superior product from that standpoint. Now, as far as being like what do you get for flagship? Again, you get nitrogen, you get potassium, same thing you get in Humic Max. You get micronutrients, so you get a complete assortment of micronutrient, which is kind of nice. But if I had a choice between flagship or Humic Max, if I had both of them, I would go with Humic Max. But you can't get this right now, so flagship is a good alternative. I mean, they're both excellent products. But if you look at them, they don't, where one has something, the other one is lacking. So it's difficult to compare them and say one is better than another. But if I had to choose, if I could only have like one fertilizer to use the rest of my life, like as far as a granular, and I had between flagship or Humic Max, I would go with Humic Max because I can already spray my micronutrients using Nutrizolve, right? I have a way to get my micronutrients down. I don't have a way of getting a prill this size that I can do myself. I don't have a way of putting, well, that's not true. As far as humic acid, there is some in some of the other biostimulants like Essential G that has some humates in it. But this in general, the benefits of this I prefer over the benefits of flagship if I had access to both. But it's a moot point because right now you can't get this. So flagship is a great alternative to Humic Max until we can get it again. So get flagship, get some Essential G, and you're good to go. Your lawn's gonna look great. So hope that helps, No Name, and the plan is to get it again next year. We'll see how that works out. All right, next up is Dustin Quillette. He says, should I plant Bermuda grass now or wait for next year in Virginia? Definitely wait for next year. Bermuda does well as far as from a germination standpoint. You want the soil temperatures to be 65 degrees trending higher. And in general, Bermuda does better in warmer climate, warmer temperatures than it does in cooler temperatures. So even if you could get Bermuda to germinate now, we're going into the time of year where, again, being in Virginia, you guys are going to it's going to get really cold. Being in Virginia, you're probably going to get some snow. So you're not doing it at the ideal time of year. The best time of year to plant Bermuda, if you decide you're going to do renovation and you're going to go the seed route, would be in the May timeframe, late April, early May timeframe. Again, whenever soil temps are 65 degrees, going warmer, that is when you want to do it. The spring has other benefits too. One being, again, soil temps are correct, but also you tend to get more rain in the spring than you do this time of year. So from a standpoint of just being able to keep the seed hydrated and just help with germination and just in general help the grass get established, like all the conditions and the trends are better if you seed Bermuda in the springtime than if you try and do it now. So I would not do it now at all. I would absolutely wait till the spring. So I hope that helps. All right, next up is Fairway Bermuda. Daryl, he says, Ron, have you ever soil tested after fall pre-emergent? I've always tested first of the spring and first time I'm testing in the fall. It should be fine. Yeah, no, yeah, I've tested. Yeah, I've tested. Yeah, I've done a soil test in October, which is well after I've already done my pre-emergent. So yeah, most of the time when I do my soil test, it's after I've applied pre-emergent, and it doesn't materially affect. Doesn't affect the results. Now, if you're using a granular, Daryl, so say you're using like the prodiamine in a granular or the dithiopyrin in a granular, if you can have 3 to 4 weeks between the application of that granular and you pulling cores for your soil test, that would be ideal so that you don't get an elevated potassium result in your soil test. But outside of that, the pre-emergent is not going to really impact your soil test results at all. That's the only edge case I'd say as far as pre-emergent, a consideration you might want to have, and it's really not the pre-emergent. It's the potassium that's in that granular product that does it. It's not really the pre-emergent by itself. So if you're using like prodiamine, straight prodiamine, dithiopyr, or spectacle, you can pull cores whenever you want. All right, Travis Winston says it's an Allet Kensington 20. Nice, 20H. Cool. Very cool. Looks sharp, man. Lawn looks good. Keep going. All right, next up is Vahid Navi. It says, hey, Ron, how many times of the year can I apply lime on a Kentucky bluegrass lawn? My pH is low, around 5.33. So I've done it. I've done 3 lime apps in a season. I guess you could do it more often than that, but really I've done 3. I've done a spring, I've done one in the middle of the growing season, like in June, and I tend to go heaviest now, this time of year in the fall. So what I will tell you, Vahid, is that if you apply lime, you really need to wait about 3 months before you do another soil test to see what kind of results you're getting in it. So when I did a lime app last year, and then I looked at the results. I pulled cores in October, and I saw a movement in my soil pH levels from a June to October, that time frame, that 3 to 4 month time frame, right? So if you have done it, if you've applied, in other words, I don't know when you did your you pull that sample that got you the 5.33 pH levels, but just know that it takes a while for the lime to react with the soil and for the increase in pH to be elevated in your soil test results, typically about 3 months. But as far as what I have done, I've done it up to 3 times in a year. You probably could do it more often than that, but I've done spring, I've done middle of summer, and then I've done, again, typically my heaviest application is in the fall. So hope that helps, sir. And you said I am from Canada. Yeah, that's fine, but that does make a difference. So the only rule I'd say is when it comes to applying any kind of granular products, you don't want to do it whenever the soil or the ground is frozen. So in your case, I'm not sure wherever you happen to be in Canada, it thaws out, but maybe late spring and then again summer and then maybe early fall before the ground freezes would be the times to do that. But again, once you do that, it's like 3 months, 3 to 4 months before I would pull samples again and expect to see a change in your pH levels from just the lime. So hope that helps, Vahid. Good job on getting a soil test done, and also good job on doing something about it, right? 533, you'll be able to bring that up in no time. Should be good to go. And then we got Alanone Creations giving you a hard time. Says, what about Canada, brother? All right. So I guess maybe you have another Canadian in the house. All right. G-Free's up next. He says, hey, Ron, when is the latest time to apply fungicide? Depends, like most things, it depends. But if you're doing it for preventative purposes and you are my neighbor in Georgia, the times of year when I do fungicide for preventive reasons would be the months of May, June, and then for later out, like this time of year, would be now, and then another application in early November. That's the time when I would do it for the purposes of preventing spring dead spot. So that's, again, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. Now, if you're in Florida and you've got like I don't know, you got brown patch, you have some kind of lawn disease in your lawn in February, then you should apply fungicide in February to try and get rid of it, right? So it really depends what you're trying to accomplish with the fungicide application. When the times that I'm giving you are more around preventing problems in the first place, more so than treating an active outbreak. So a good example of how that would change things. Like normally the best time to apply fungicide in from a preventative standpoint for the summer time frame is May, June. Like May, June time frame, that's the time to do it. But now in my case, where I've had problems with large patch in my lawn in the month of April, I apply it a month earlier. So what I tell you, apply your fungicide in April? Not really. If you don't have a reason to do it that early, don't do that. Wait till May and then do it then. But if you have a history of a problem in your lawn, 4 weeks earlier than would be the what conventional wisdom would say, this is the time to do it, then you would modify your schedule and maybe do it a month earlier and then do your second app a month, in the following month. So it really depends. But in my case, it's for most people, when someone asks me that question, it's May, June for your spring, summer fungicide preventative. And then for fall, it's October, November. That's generally what I tell people. All right, next up is David Lee saying, blessings, Ron. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for coming to hang out, David. I appreciate you. And he says, if we get the 4-pack soil test kits, how long do they keep in proper storage? That's a good question. I don't, as long as they're kept cool and dry and you don't open, as long as you keep this capsule, as long as you keep this capsule, like this seal, like you don't open it and, play with it, it should be fine. You know what? That's a good question. I'll ask the folks at My Soil that, and I'll get an answer for you. Yet another thing to screenshot. So that's actually a good question. I've never been asked that before. I'll ask them, see if I can ask them now, because I have them on text here. How long do soil test kits keep? They might be able to tell me on the show here. We'll see. If not, you have to wait till next week to find out. All right, next is to Trilla. He says, happy Friday, everyone. I'm a little late, but I made it. Hey, Ron, have you been doing any shorts as of late? I haven't been getting any of my feed. Yeah, so I've only done a few. So as far as, so there's a couple of things. As far as the shorts, I've only done like 4 or 5 of those. I don't do that many shorts. YouTube stories, I have been doing those, but those have also been less. You should have gotten a few over the past, you should have gotten some this week. So I was doing a couple of updates this week. You're going to get a whole bunch of them tomorrow. So for those of you guys that are not able to be at the Real Rollers event tomorrow, I'll definitely have the iPhone all charged up and I'll be doing, not shorts, but I'll be doing YouTube story, little 15-second clips of stuff going on and this kind of thing in there. So yeah, you guys will see a ton of that. For those of you that are not able to be there, you can be there in spirit through the magic of YouTube. So, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and then you'll see the YouTube story show up on your mobile app. So it'll look something, I don't know if I can actually show this. Can I show this? It'll look something like this. Let's see. It looks something like this. So if you look when you scroll down, it won't be at the very top. Focus. You'll see something like this that will show up, but you should be a subscriber to be able to see that. You know what I mean? So subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing a whole lot of shorts tomorrow when we're out at the turf park, and you guys will be able to see all the antics and everything going on. All right, Papa Mo's Low says, "Hey Ron and everyone, what's going on, Papa Mo's Low? Hope you're doing well." And then next up is Ben Dover. I saw what you did. I see what you did there with that avatar name. I see what you did there. He says, hey, Ron, I have all as well. Haven't been able to tune in a while because I've been busy this season, but just seeing such great results following your advice and recommendations. I'm very happy to hear that, sir. Glad to hear that the channel is just a little bit useful. Just want to say thanks. You're very, very welcome. I mean, you did all the hard work. I may have given you some tips, but you actually did it, which is the thing that makes the difference, right? So I'm glad that you're getting good results, Ben. Keep going. It's going to get even better. He has a follow-up comment where he says, I just put down my dithiopyr for the winter since I did a split out of prodiamine at 0.4 ounces, 0.415 ounces twice in the spring. Had to go heavy due to lawn conditions. Okay, so you did prodiamine in the spring and dithiopyr this fall. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan, man. And then we got an LSU fan here. Go Tigers. All right, I hear you. All right, and then next up, Liz Lou, he's here, says, "Hey Ron, my landscaper is telling me to seed and to not put sod. Did they say why? Did they say why to do seed and not sod?" So guys, so Liz Lou, if you guys remember, was the one that had the problem lawn. I got her soil test results, gave her some advice on as far as like soil amendments, as far as like fertilizer options based on her soil test results. But you guys know me. I'm always a big fan of doing sod as a method of establishing a lawn versus seed because just frankly, it's easier. So I'd be interested in finding out why, Liz. Sod is faster, requires it's faster, easier, and requires less work from you on a continued basis to get it to establish than seed. Seed is more work. So I'd be interested in finding out why your landscaper said that. So if you know, you want to drop it in the chat, by all means, let me know. If you don't know yet, or they didn't tell you why, ask them and either send me an email or show up on the live stream next week and let us know why they are a fan of doing seed instead of sod. All right, next up is T1000. He says, "I just bought the Halos, this basically Sedgehammer, 5 water dispersal granule to remove nutsedge in my lawn. Is this used for a spot treatment or can it be used all over the lawn via a sprayer?" You can blanket spray the lawn with it, but again, unless you've got nutsedge all over the entire lawn, I wouldn't. You really want to minimize where you're spraying, you smacking the lawn with herbicide if you can prevent it. So if your lawn, the entire lawn is just covered up in sedges, then yeah, obviously mix it at the proper rates, and then you can blanket spray. Just like Certainty, you can blanket spray Certainty, but I don't really recommend doing that for a couple of reasons. One, it's expensive, and then second, if there's not if the weed you're trying to target isn't spread throughout the entire lawn, why spray it over the entire lawn? You know what I mean? So the answer is yes, but only if you need to. Jake S is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, first timer here. I'm late on applying prodiamine due to too much rain here in Northern Virginia. I plan to apply tomorrow on my warm season front lawn and cool season backyard. More. I'm trying to save money on the water bill and wait till next Thursday rain. Is it way too long to wait to water it in?" No, it is not. How much time can pass before it's too late to water it in? That's a great question, but I mean, I'll tell you, there's people around here that get their lawn sprayed with by lawn care services with they get sprayed with prodiamine or whatever pre-emergent that the lawn care service that they pay for happens to be using, and a lot of them never run irrigation. Like you never see irrigation get turned on at all. And the lawns that got prodiamine applied to them, even without having irrigation run like immediately after or a day afterwards, still have a whole lot less weeds in their lawn than the ones that don't have prodiamine, didn't get pre-emergent. In other words, if you were to walk my neighborhood, you'll be able to see it's going to stick out like a sore thumb, the lawns that got no pre-emergent applied to them. You really are not going to be able to tell the difference, or you're not going to be able to tell a huge difference between the ones that got like what mine did, where I applied the pre-emergent literally right afterwards, ran irrigation, watered it in, right? And the ones that applied pre-emergent and then maybe it was 2-3 days or a week later, or whatever they happen to remember to turn irrigation on to water it in. So it is better that the best thing would be to apply it and then get it watered in within 24 hours of application. But the majority of the lawns around here don't get that. You know what I mean? They don't get that. They don't, and they still look, from a standpoint of the pre-emergent doing what it's intended to do, it still works far better than not applying it. So this is an interesting point, because I had a buddy of mine that is kind of doing what you were doing, where they're saying, well, hey, there's not going to be rain, so I don't want to put pre-emergent down until there's rain in the forecast. I would not do that. I really wouldn't. I would let soil temperatures dictate when you apply pre-emergent. And then if it rains, great. If you have to get out there and run, use your garden hose and water it in, or run your, just drag sprinklers around and water it in, that's fine. But I would not wait. I would not let the rainfall dictate when you apply pre-emergent over soil temperatures. Like soil temperatures is what really matters, because that's what's going to drive when the weeds that the pre-emergent is supposed to control are going to begin germinating. So you want to get it down, and then again, if you got to get there with a hose and water it in, that's fine. Just go that route. But it's in other words, if you wait till late October, let's say you get no rain till late October, and you apply pre-emergent then, you're gonna get a worse result than had you applied it in, like, say, early September, and then maybe got out there with a hose and watered it in, or ran your sprinkler system, dragged the hose around and watered it in. You see what I'm saying? Because soil temperatures are what drive when weeds are going to germinate, and you want to get the pre-emergent down prior to the weeds germinating. So that's my take on it. Yeah, I would absolutely get it done tomorrow. And if it's gonna rain, great. If it doesn't rain, that's fine too. But absolutely get it down. All right, next up is Justin Cherby, and he liked the comment. He says, "RC reel mower." Heck yeah, yeah. That's what I always say. It sounds like it's like the Tesla of reel mowers, right? It sounds like a little RC car rolling around whenever you're just moving it. When the reel is turning, it makes a little bit more noise, but just moving it on the lawn, it's really, really quiet. People won't hear it. All right, Ben Raham is up next. He says, "For prodiamine water dispersible granule, is the ounce measured by weight on a scale or by measuring cup?" For the water dispersible granule, it is by weight. So that's a great question. So if you are using, do I have it? Yep. If you're using like this, right? Which is like, this is the water dispersible granule prodiamine. Like when it says the application rate for Bermuda is 0.36 ounces up to a max of 0.83 ounces, it's talking about dry weight. So it's talking about taking that amount of the product, weighing it on a scale, and that amount will, when mixed with 1 gallon of water, will provide 3 to 4 months worth of coverage over 1,000 square feet of turf. So yes, you would want to use you'd use a scale. So what I do, you would use a measuring cup because you need something to hold it. So what I do is I take a measuring cup, I set it on the scale, I zero the scale, and then I pour this into the measuring cup because it's way easier to get this into, take a measuring cup and dump it into the sprayer for mixing than it is to just dump this directly onto the scale and kind of makes a mess and have to sweep it off and put it in the backpack sprayer. So I use a measuring cup as a container to hold it, but I don't use a measuring cup to actually measure the product. Does that make sense? For a dry product like this, you're measuring it by weight, and the scale is just a way to conveniently hold it and transfer it to your sprayer to mix it and then apply it to the lawn. Make sense? So something like this, you would use a scale. Something like a Primo or like a Celiprin that's already a liquid, these guys you would measure in fluid ounces. So if you read the label for this, you will see it'll talk about X amount of fluid ounces over 1,000 square feet using a measuring cup. And whereas with this, it will just say ounces, which means you're going to use a scale. You're going to weigh it. You're going to weigh it out to apply it. So that's how you would that's how you go about doing that. So hope that helps, Ben. For dry products, a scale. For liquid products, you can use a measuring cup, or if you're using one of these guys like the Primo or the Celiprin, they have a measuring cup built into the container. All right, let's see. Ben Raham says, "Will pre-emergent help against the devil's quack grass?" That's a good question. You have to check the label and see which one what it controls. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know if prodiamine or Spectacle or dithiopyr will have any control against quack grass. The label will tell you. The label will tell you. I don't know that one off the top of my head, unfortunately. Pro says, "Any New England tips for the fall?" They're similar to what they are for us warm season guys. Pro, get your pre-emergent down. If you want to do something to help improve the quality of the soil while you're waiting for the grass to kind of check out and before the ground freezes, you can use something like Essential G, something like this. You can apply this to your lawn every month as far as like a biostimulant to help improve soil quality. Like this is something you can do until the ground gets too cold, or again, until it freezes. And outside of that, fertilize. If your grass is still actively growing, fertilize it based on the amount. Like give your grass the amount of nitrogen that's correct for your particular grass type. Most lawns do well for Bermuda, anyways. It's an eighth of a pound to a pound of nitrogen. Cool season grass tends to require a little bit less than that. So half a pound to an eighth of a pound of nitrogen. It will typically produce pretty good results. What else can I tell you? Pre-emergent biostimulants, and feed your lawn as long as it's still actively growing with the correct amount of nutrients, and then mow it. And then out of all those things, mow it. Like the thing that's going to make it look really nice is having a good mowing program. And outside of that, that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of difference really between cool season grass and warm season grass as far as what it takes to make it look good. Like the amount of product you use is different. The products you use can be a little bit different as far as herbicides go, but as far as like the actual methodology is, it still really just comes down to really to mowing, right? You use pre-emergent, fertilize properly, keep weeds out of your lawn, and then just mow it a bunch, and it's going to look good. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. He says, "Hey Ron, I took a sample the other day. I guess you got soil test results, and pH. I was surprised. I'm at 8.5. Wow. Anything I can do to bring that down?" Yes. By the way, all of my lawn tips are out of the window. Chicago burbs are calling for overnight frost. Wow. Yeah, that's not good. So yeah, you can use a like a sulfate, like an ammonium sulfate product. You can use citric acid. Citric acid I like because it there's not like you're not throwing a bunch of nitrogen at the lawn at the same time, but that will help bring your pH down over time. So if you want to see a cool video on this very topic by the guys at My Soil, let's see if I can find the video here. They did a really good video showing both sides of it. They said they took a couple, they had a total of four plots, if I remember correctly. They had 2 of soil that was acidic, so low pH, and they had 2 for soil that is alkaline, so high pH. And they did on the low pH, they used I think different types of lime, and on the high pH soil, they used sulfate, and they also used a citric acid. And if you want to see the results, you can check out this video that covers that. Again, it's really well done. And check this out, and I think you will enjoy it, Gary. But as far as your options are, I would say go with like a citric acid type product. Let me see, at Gary Kellett Jr. There you are. So watch that video. It's a series because it obviously takes a while to show it change over time. But that will set you on the right track as far as options for lowering your soil pH. All right, G Freeze up next. He says, "I did a May May apt. I will do another one in November." Okay, sounds good. T1000 is up next. He says, "Just a few spots of nutsedge in the Bermuda lawn. I'll spot treat. Thanks for all you do." Yeah, man, absolutely. Because I get nutsedge in a few areas in my lawn, typically where like rain water passes, so like the swale area, and then a few areas along the border, like between my lawn and the neighbor's lawn. And that's where I spray Certainty. You know what I mean? I don't use it, one, because the stuff's expensive, and I don't need to. Like why introduce stress to the Bermuda if I don't have to? And I'm not really going to be targeting anything with it, so there's no reason to even use it. But an example of where I would blanket with Certainty is, say, the neighbor next door, when we were trying to get their lawn under control. In that case, it got a blanket spray of Celsius, got a blanket spray of Certainty, like the entire lawn got it. And it did a really good job of cleaning up the POA and other weeds that were in the lawn. But if you don't need to spray everywhere, I just wouldn't. Mainly for cost reasons, and also just there's no reason to introduce herbicide to the grass unless you absolutely need to. All right, Zave19 says, "How many times have you won Lawn of the Month so far?" 0. We don't actually have a Lawn of the Month in my neighborhood. Can you imagine? We don't. We don't, unfortunately. There's no Lawn of the Month in the neighborhood that I live in. And then T1000 says, "Hit the like button." I appreciate that, T1000. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And guys, we are winding down. I'm going to get out of here a little bit early so that tomorrow we can get out and get there bright and early, get a good sweat with doing some training, and then see you guys at the Real Roller Turf Park. All right, NMS Auditor 1A says, "Ron, I am in North Mississippi with Bermuda." I dig it. "Can you go over a 30,000-foot view of a month-to-month preventative maintenance? Not looking for a FERT schedule, but a pre-emergent, fungicide, and insecticide schedule." You know what, NMS Auditor? Just for you, I'm going to show you a month-to-month view. It's a little bit lower than 30,000, a little bit deeper than 30,000 feet viewpoint of it, but it's I think it'll set you on the right track. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, so you just go right here, and you go to blog, and you scroll down, and you go to page 2, and I'm going to link this so you don't have to do all this, but I'm just telling you how you could find it. And you go to page 2, and you find this blog post, which has step-by-step guide for getting a golf course lawn, right? And you click on that, and you scroll all the way down. Granted, this is really good reading. I think it's good. Granted, I'm a little bit biased, but read the whole thing if you want. But if you don't want to, just scroll all the way down. And at the bottom of it, you are going to find a lawn schedule, a month-by-month breakdown, of how I would go about doing the kind of things that you're talking about, right? So for pre-emergent, fungicide, insecticide, it's all broken down month by month here of when to do your pre-emergent. Again, March timeframe works. As when is to do your preventative insecticide, so Acelepryn G, you got that in April. Your fungicide applications covers that in May, as long as fertilization, and so on and so forth. Every month of the year until Octoberish, whenever we are, when things check out. Okay, so you are all covered. Just go to the store and under this blog post at the bottom of it, scroll down, and you'll be able to find this. So yeah, but the long short of it is I'll even tell you now that I've told you where you can find it to reference, I'll go over it and explain it live. But so ideally for pre-emergent, I'm going to answer this if you're my neighbor, because northern Mississippi climate should be somewhat close to what we have here in Georgia. But I'm a fan of doing pre-emergent early rather than late. So late February, early March is when I would get your pre-emergent down in the spring. For your preventative insecticide, you can do Acelepryn in late March or April timeframe. So March, April, you can get a Acelepryn down, and it's gonna provide very good coverage as far as keeping grubs, armyworms, those types of lawn damaging insects out of your lawn. When it comes to fungicides, unless you have reason to do it earlier, May, June timeframe is a good time to do that. Now, as far as options for that, you can use Headway, which is a great product, or if you didn't do a Acelepryn in the March, April timeframe, you could use a product like Caravan, which has insecticide and a fungicide product all rolled up in one. The negative or the benefits of doing Acelepryn, and why I prefer to do Acelepryn and then Headway versus Caravan a lot of times, is because Acelepryn it targets more stuff. Like if you have armyworms or any kind of turf caterpillar, Acelepryn is going to take care of that, whereas the insecticide that's in Caravan does not have coverage for those. It takes care of grubs, but doesn't take care of as much stuff as Acelepryn does. So you're covered now as far as insecticide and fungicide for the first part of the year. The only other time I would say for fungicide applications, you're going to do your next one this time of year. So go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, and we have Headway in stock, and you can use that now. So I would do an application now, and I would do another one at the end of this month or early November timeframe, and that's it. So a preventative fungicide in the spring timeframe, one now, and then insecticide. Really, you should be able to get by with getting one down in the beginning of the season if you use something like Acelepryn. Like that. That's what I've done, and I have no issues, no bugs, no problems with grubs or any other lawn damaging insects in my lawn. There are some people that have decided to apply that wait a little bit longer to apply Acelepryn. You can do that too if you want. That's completely another option as well. But I've gotten good results with doing a single app early in the growing season, and then a fungicide application in the spring, and then another one at this time of year. That does well for me as far as keeping just keeping the stuff that can ruin your lawn and take a long time to recover from at bay. All right, hope that helps answer your question, sir. But again, there's a link to the blog post in the chat that you can check out as well too. That will that you can use as a reference. All right, next up is Ogsan. He says, "Hey Ron, have fun on Saturday. I wish I could see that owlet beast." Yeah, man. Well, you never know. Maybe next time. Maybe next year. I'm not sure what part of the country you're in, so it might not be feasible to actually make that trip. But at any rate, I'll have lots of little short snippets showing the mower and showing everything that's going on there. So subscribe to the channel, and also, if you want, check out the various YouTube stories that are going to go be there tomorrow. And then Ben Raham says, "Turf Park go. See y'all tomorrow." Nice. Sounds good, Ben. See you tomorrow. Drive safe. And Ben says, "If you are crazy enough to grow Bermuda from seed, find me at the turf park." I've done it. I've done it in in a planter, and I've done it on my lawn. That's why in general, I try and steer people away from it, because it's expensive, and it's not just expensive from the cost of the seed, because Bermuda grass seed is pretty pricey, but just the amount of water the amount of money you're gonna spend in irrigation can be pretty cost prohibitive, right? Granted, the size of your lawn also matters too. But every time I've done seeding with Bermuda on my lawn, I have spent far more money on irrigation. Like the water bill that month is way worse than the cost of the seed. And you got to figure the cost of a 25-pound bag of Arden 15 is like around $400 or was around $400 when you could get it. And the watering bill greatly exceeds that. So for most people, I say, hey, if you're doing a renovation, sod is, I mean, it's a bit more expensive, but it's not really, unless your lawn is really big. If you have a really large lawn, then yeah, seed is the way to go. But if you have a lawn under, 8,000 square feet or smaller, then there's a lot to be said for doing sod, in my opinion. All right. Xavier says, will it be all right to bring kids tomorrow? Yeah. It's a family event. I mean, kids can show up. He says, my son really wants to take a picture with your greensmaster. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no problem with bringing kids out. Now they're probably not going to be, I don't think that real rollers, they're probably not going to allow them to use the equipment because they don't, I mean, just for safety reasons. But I mean, as far as coming out, there should be no problem with that. And that's another good point as well too, Ben Ray, how another feather in the cap for isolaprin is that as an insecticide, it covers more, it kills more stuff than the insecticide that's in Caravan, and it's safe for earthworms, for invertebrates like earthworms, and it doesn't kill pollinators or harm pollinators like bees. So if you are looking for an insecticide that does everything that you probably would you're really going to want in an insecticide, while also being as safe for the environment as an insecticide can be, acellaprin is what I would go with. And you can get it in liquid form, which you can get here, like acellaprin SC, this version, or you can get it in granular form, which is, again, they are both equally effective. The granular is a little bit easier to apply. From a coverage standpoint, they're also comparable. Like a 25-pound of acellaprin in granular covers pretty much the same thing as what this covers. So you're not really giving much there. Really, it's more about your preference, which one you prefer. And if you guys want a acellaprin or Caravan or Headway, you'll be able to buy it tomorrow at the or pick it up tomorrow. You just still order it, but then you can but you can buy it and pick it up tomorrow at the turf park. So there is that if you are interested. All right, and then Ben says 12,000 square feet of Bermuda from scratch. Yeah, that's quite a bit, man. That's a bit to sod. that's a bit to sod. It's gonna be pricey. It's gonna be pricey. So you're a case where doing seed might actually make more sense, but it's still going to be pricey, man. You're going to brace yourself for a stiff watering bill if you decide to go that route. Next up is Gary. He says, Ron, thanks for it. I got the video. I'll tell you, this lawn care sometimes is stressful. It can be. I mean, we get really into it, and we, in some cases, are, it's it's a lot of it's self-induced stress. I'll put you that way, right? Like there's that's why if you look at last year, I took the time out to make that video showing how, regardless of how much you put into your lawn and how much time you put into your lawn, what you're going to find is it's going to, like everything else in life, there's ebbs and flows. There's going to be a peak where everything's going to be looking awesome. The color is going to be great. The strap action is going to be on point. But eventually that's going to fall off, and there'll be areas that will struggle, and there's going to be areas that look better than others, and that's just the way it is. It's kind of like how life is, right? There's not many people's lives always goes awesome, for years and years and years on end. You have years or months throughout the year when things are going really good. You have times when things are not going so great. And grass is very much the same way. So I would say that do everything you can as far as, do a soil test, fertilize your lawn based on the soil test, control the weeds in your lawn, mow your lawn a lot, and then just enjoy it. Enjoy the process, Enjoy the good that comes with it, enjoy the bad that comes with it, enjoy the mistakes that you make, and at the end of the day, remember, it's just grass. It'll grow back. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You're not you're not responsible for getting the turf ready for Augusta National. Like that would be a stressful job. I mean, for those guys, probably not so much because they do it every year and they've got more money than they know what to do with. But I mean, that is where I could see stress. But us residential lawns, I would imagine that pretty much everyone on this live stream that has been at this for a year, for a season or so, likely has the best lawn on their street. More than likely that's the case. And if you're in the process of let's just getting started, within a season, you'll probably have the best lawn on the street, unless your neighbors also find this and start doing it. And then the two of you guys will have the best lawn on the street. So it doesn't really take much to be, to really stand out. as far as residential lawns go, because most people aren't into grass like how we are. So at any rate, enjoy the process is what I would say. All right, NMS Auditor says, thanks for going over the information. Enjoy the content. Keep up the great work. No problem, NMS Auditor. I'm happy to do it. But again, you got that reference on the store. But again, it's not that difficult. Really, there's a springtime app and a fall app. That's what I would say. That tends to work well for me. Joe Wanja is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I bought my first house in July. Congrats on that. And it had Bermuda sod that was poorly laid by the builder on Texas clay. Got a soil test done this past week, and I'm low on all the macros and low on pH. Yeah, so what I would say, where in Texas are you? Like, is it still hot to where you've got, another month or two of mowing? If so, and it says that you said that the soil test results came back and said that all your macros are low, here is what I would recommend. I would go with, let's go to shop and then go to lawn fertilizer, and then get a good starter fertilizer product like this, like the 12 from Yard Mastery. Like, this is a good option. Depending on the size of your lawn, you can go with an 18-pound bag, or you can go with a larger bag, a 45-pound bag. Either one of these guys will do the trick. And what you'll find is this has all of your micronutrients, it has all the macros, and also has a complete set of micronutrients. So that should cover you from a standpoint of your macros. For pH, you're going to want to use a lime product of some sort. So when it comes to lime, you've got a couple of options. You've got calcitic lime, you've got a dolomitic lime. Either one of them will work. But if you're really trying to optimize things, look at your soil test results, and on there you should have seen magnesium listed as one of the nutrients that were measured by the soil test sample. If your magnesium is low, if the magnesium levels are below the optimal range, go with a dolomitic lime. If they are fine, go with a calcitic lime. So the way to remember it is, like, magnesium starts with M, and D, the letter D for dolomitic, is closer to M in the alphabet. So if magnesium is low, go with the one that is closer to magnesium in the alphabet. That's how I remember it. If you can think of another way of remembering it, that's another, come up with your own trick. But if magnesium is low, go with the dolomitic. If your magnesium is fine, go with a calcitic. And I would say, as far as application rate, I haven't seen what your pH is, but really you're going to want to go at least 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet to make an appreciable difference as far as movement in pH levels, up to 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet on a residential lawn. Like, that's a good number as far as the amount of lime you can put down at once and water in and get a good result. So anywhere between 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet to 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet. There's some people that go heavier than that, but that's a good range as far as a lime app to raise your pH levels. Your next comment is, no idea where to start. Fix pH, pre-emergent on new sod, do nothing until the spring. So you said you did the lawn was done in July. So July, August, September, October. If you want to skip, if it were me, I would do pre-emergent. But if you want to wait till the next spring to do pre-emergent, that's fine. Just realize that you're going to be fighting some weeds in your lawn in the spring if you don't do a fall pre-emergent. So, but it's really your call. If the lawn hasn't rooted in properly, hasn't established nicely between July and now, waiting till next spring isn't a bad idea. pH is, out of all the things to fix on a soil test result, and a soil test, pH to me is the most important. Like, when I get a soil test result, the first thing I look at is their pH. Like, the macros can be all over the place, but if pH is good, then you're way ahead of the game, because it influences the availability of all the other nutrients. So if your pH is really high, like you got a really alkaline soil, then the ability for your the grass to be able to use, say, like your micronutrients like iron, is going to be limited. But if it's in the good zone, like if it's between, and good being like mid sixes, but like if it's anywhere between like 5.8 to 7.2, somewhere in that area, you're in the game. And at that point, it's just a matter of applying a macro product, like in your case, if everything is low, it's a good starter fertilizer. And then that over time is going to fix things. Like, your macro levels come up a lot faster than pH. pH, you think in like 3-month increments. You know what I mean? That's when you'll see, if you do a lime application now, I would test again in 3 months, and you should see the change reflected in about 3 to 4 months time frame. Macros, it doesn't take nearly as long for those levels to come up in your soil. Now, if you want to see at a high level, because I know you got into your lawn, you just got a new house, and you want to see like how I break down like just an easy infographic. If we check here again, go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and just click on shop, that's going to take you to this page. And in here, you'll see like like the 5-step guide of what that I like to say is what it was going to help you produce an amazing lawn. Step 1 is to eliminate weeds. So you didn't say you really had weeds in your lawn, so you're probably ahead of the game there. Step 2 is get a soil test. We carry them in the Golf Course Lawn Store. The one that I recommend is the one from My Soil because they're easy to use. The results are easy to understand. And you get your results in a week. And another big benefit is if you go with the My Soil test, and show you here quick, there's another big benefit to these, and it's something they introduced this past year, is all your soil tests that you do with this. So you do one now, and then you do another one in the spring. They save all of them in their web portal. So if you want to easily see how your soil, your nutrient levels and the pH are trending or changing over time, it makes it super easy to be able to do that. You're able to say, okay, I want to compare this soil test one and this one, and say compare, and it produces this nice pretty graph that shows you how your soil pH levels are changing over time. As a matter of fact, we probably got time, right? I might be able to show you this really quick. Let me pull this up, and I'll actually show you what I'm talking about. Let's see, live demo gods, don't fail me now. Let's see if we can actually make this work. And log in, and there we go. All right, so here, right now, you're seeing my my personal dashboard. So these are all my soil samples. So a lot of them are mine. Some of them are ones from neighbors and friends. So if we were going to compare, let's say, my soil in 2020, because they keep them, right? So of June 2020 to the fall 2020. And let's also look at the winter of 2020. So 3 different soil tests, right? And then we go down here and we say compare selected samples. You're able to see how my nitrogen levels trended, my phosphorus levels trended, my potassium levels trended, what the pH did over that time period. So, and this gets saved forever, right? So it's not like this doesn't cost extra. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost extra. This is a big reason why I'm a huge fan of these particular soil tests, because you get this at no extra cost. You know what I mean? And I just did hear from the guys at My Soil, and they said there's not really a shelf life, pretty much forever. So the question, as far as if you buy a 4-pack, how long will it keep? There's not really a shelf life. You're gonna be good to go. Just pretty much don't open the deionized water and play around with it and close it. Like, don't do that. But as long as it's all kept sealed, there's not really a shelf life. They just confirmed with me when I asked them here. Just asked them, so you're good to go. So if anyone was watching this, you can keep them for a very, 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 very long time. Okay, so back to, you're asking where to start. So if we go back to the infographic, so you eliminate weeds, which sounds like you don't have that problem. You get a soil test done. Hopefully I've convinced you on that. Given all the data you get that helps with getting an amazing lawn, they're really not that expensive. And then we're going to fertilize your lawn, step 3, based on the soil test results. So we figured out what the deficiencies are. We're going to treat those deficiencies. And then step 4, which is the thing that most people don't do enough, which is to mow, and mow some more. If you do these things where you eliminate the weeds, you get a soil test done, you feed the lawn consistently based on those soil test results, like this, getting an awesome lawn is a byproduct. Most people try and chase this without doing these things. So in other words, don't chase step 5. Like if you do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, it's impossible for you to not get step 5. But if you chase step 5 by itself, that's a recipe for frustration, spending and wasting a bunch of money on products that don't actually fit or aren't necessary for your lawn and soil. But if you do this stuff in order, this is the result that you're going to get over time. So let's see if you have any other comments here. You said you're in Houston and it is in the mid 90s. Yeah, so if it's still in the 90s, I'd get a bag of starter fert on order. Apply that. You've already done your soil test. Let me see. Did you do your? Yeah, actually, I thought you said you got one done already. So get your fertilizer applied. Get your lime applied. get yourself a soil test kit. But then in 3 months from now, I'm not sure when you did the soil test, but 3 months after you do the lime app, do another test and see how the pH is looking. And that will let you know, hey, do I need to add more lime? Because ideally what you want to do, Joe, is have your pH in beautiful shape by the Marchish time frame, if possible. Not always possible to do that, but if by like next growing season, when that's about to start, if you can get your lime apps down to where you by Marchish you're looking a lot better, then you're going to be able to hit the ground running next year and just feed the lawn just your macros and micros and just mow it, and you're going to get a great looking lawn. As far as top dressing next season, top dressing is going to be next season, and as far as covering that, I've got tons of videos on it. I've got like the ultimate guide to top dressing. I consider it the ultimate guide anyway. That covers the preparation from an aeration standpoint, fertilizing, putting biostimulants down, the top dressing like actually how to do it. Like all that's covered in videos on my channel. So just go to YouTube and type Ron Henry lawn leveling or Ron Henry top dressing. You're going to find tons of videos on that. There's even a video of showing someone else doing it if you don't want to do it yourself. So I've got you covered from you doing it or even the lazy person approach and having a service do it for you. And so hopefully that covers you. I threw a lot at you there, but I want you to, be encouraged and have at least some information to get started. Top dressing is not something you even got to worry about until next year. Let's wait till next year to do that. All right, next up is Brew Cruise Fishing. He says, my grass is going night-night. Yours, mine, and everyone else around here. There is that. And then Edwin is saying, good evening, Ron. Laying sod down on Tuesday. Planning on putting down Carbon Pro G heavy on the soil before the sod. Any other suggestions before laying the sod after? Thanks. Not really. Water it, put some water on it, and allow it to root in, and yeah, you're good. You should be good to go at that point. If you're doing Essential Carbon Pro G or Essential G or Carbonized PN, any of those will work well. To your point, I would go heavy, like bag rate. Let your budget determine how much of it you put down. Go nice and heavy. Let it be like that sandwich it between your soil and the sod, and that's going to really help it root in a lot faster, and you're going to be good to go. Next up, and our last comment of the evening, I think, is going to be from Bruce Cruz, where he says, I did 7,500 square feet from Arden 15. I watered and watered more. Sod would have been so much easier. And that really is the case, man. I mean, going from seed, like you go out and you look at your lawn and say, a bag of seeds is only $400. This is way cheaper than going out and buying sod and all the work or paying someone to do it and everything. This is way better until you actually do it and you actually water it and you realize how much money and time it takes. Literally with sod, assuming you do a good job prepping it, like you'll have one day of like dirt, and then when the sod is done, you've got like, it's going to look not great, but you're going to have like a lawn. It's going to be, you're going to have grass, right? Whereas with seed, typically, it's a 2 to 3 week time frame if you do all your prep work right. And in most cases, it doesn't grow in everywhere all evenly. So you may have to go back and, put some more seed in certain areas and that kind of thing. So there's something to keep in mind, that sod is easier. Seed is less, and sod is easier, but more and typically more cost and time effective up to a certain point till the lawn gets really big. And then that's where seed starts to make a bit more sense, because sodding like 30,000 square feet is just not, that'd be super cost prohibitive. So there's that. All right, so our last comment of the evening looks like it's going to be from Dwayne's Roll. He says, hey, Ron, I'm very late, but I'm here. I put down some pre-emergent today, and it was also the first time using Yard Mastery dithiopyr. I noticed the prill is a little bit larger and a little worried. Not really. You should be fine, Dwayne. Put it down. If it's going to rain, great. If you're going to water it in, great. I wouldn't worry about it. There's people that use it all the time, and they get a great result. And then you said about my first mow after putting it down, should I be concerned about any prills that have not dissolved? What say you? I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. What I might do is if you're someone that typically bags your clippings, what I might do is the first mow after applying the pre-emergent, I might just let those fall back on the grass. That's the only thing I might change. But outside of that, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't worry about it. And Bruce Cruz says, yeah, when it comes to seeding a lawn or establishing a lawn from seed is not for the faint of heart. And that is true. I completely agree with that. Well, guys, gals, gents, I really appreciate you guys coming to hang out tonight. Hopefully a lot of you got some value out of it and had some fun. If anything, you got a good laugh out of some of the antics that happened on the show. Watch me chug a bunch of lemonade. Thanks for that, LG. Appreciate you. And if you guys are traveling from out of state tomorrow to the Real Rollers Turf Park for the festivities, drive safe, be safe. Look forward to seeing a lot of you guys there. Should be a fun time. And if you're not there, follow on YouTube. I'm going to be definitely documenting a lot of it so you guys can kind of be there in spirit. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing weekend.